everybody, it's episode 318 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. I am Chris. With me is Walnut.
Hello.
Druten.
Hello.
And we waited all that time for the cooking to be done, and there's still a bunch of clatters.
Yep.
Just can't win, can we?
Nope.
How you guys doing?
Work sucks. I'm over it. I'm over this working.
That's not how the line goes. It's work sucks, I know.
Well, no one said the I know.
No, you're supposed to say it.
I wasn't singing the song.
Oh.
So I was just saying work sucks. If somebody else wanted to say I know, then that would have been pretty good.
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, but besides that, nothing else.
Well, that's good. That's always good.
Yeah.
How about you, Drew?
Yeah, mostly the same here.
That's good. That's good. So I guess we'll just jump right into it then, because you guys are fucking boring today.
Sure am.
I could go on about how much I'm frustrated with work right now, but no one wants to hear that.
No, you're right. Nobody cares, including us.
There's a lot of shit that happened over the past week.
Oh, you're fine. But you are right. A lot of shit did happen. 2 days ago, Microsoft purchased Zenimax Media, the owners of Bethesda.
Yeah, that's some wild ass shit, huh?
Yeah.
That's
It was double what Disney paid for Star Wars.
I didn't realize that. That's nuts.
Yes. Disney spent like $3.4 billion, I believe it was, for Star Wars. Microsoft spent $7.5 billion for ZeniMax Media.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that includes, so that gets Bethesda Softworks, which is the overarching company that owns all of the studios. Bethesda Softworks is the publishing name, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But then that breaks down into, like, Bethesda Game Studios, Arcane, and id, and Tango Gameworks, and all those other ones. Like, they have, like, 8 or 9 studios, I think. And I believe I saw, I don't know if you guys read any of the different posts. Xbox or Microsoft had a blog post up from Phil Spencer talking about it. And then Bethesda had 2 up. They had one from Pete Hines and one from Todd Howard. And in the Microsoft one, they mentioned something about like 2,500 employees across all their studios.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they decide to do with games.
Dude, you know what's even more interesting? They've got 2 Sony console exclusives, or at least launch exclusives, coming up soon.
What are those?
Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think either of them are a console exclusive permanently, but they're both at least launch exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
And like they said, they're honoring those still.
I feel like it would be the wrong move for Microsoft to say, now you can only make games for us.
Well, I mean, beyond those games, I don't know that it would necessarily be a quote-unquote wrong move.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's the move to get Bethesda fans to buy your hardware, or at least subscribe to Game Pass and play on PC.
Yes, but, I mean, I don't know, like, the games were already going to be going out on the Xbox and the PC. Like,
they might not be on Game Pass.
Is Skyrim not on Game Pass?
I am not sure if Skyrim is or not. Elder Scrolls Online is.
Yeah. I mean, who cares that their 7-year-old game that's released on 18 platforms is on Game Pass?
Well, then Fallout 4, okay?
So the only Bethesda games on Game Pass right now is Elder Scrolls Online,
mm-hmm.
Fallout 76, mm-hmm. and Fallout New Vegas. Probably because that was Obsidian, and they own Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of that catalog is going to quickly be there. But you figure they are not going to stop selling games that are already on other platforms. They're not going to stop selling Fallout 4 or Skyrim on PlayStation. But Fallout 5, or Elder Scrolls 6, whatever their next game is, like, probably not going to be on PlayStation.
I would not be shocked.
The only thing I could see is them keeping the Bethesda Studios games multi-platform. But some of their more, I want to say niche, but they're not necessarily, like your Dooms, your Dishonoreds, stuff like that, like making those exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because you figure if they can go, hey, you can come play Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield for a Game Pass subscription and have access to all this other stuff and play it with game streaming or play it on PC or like wherever you want to play it with this subscription, or you can go spend $70 and buy it on your PlayStation. Like, they're making money either way.
Yeah. And that's why I think it would more so be like kind of a bad move on their part to not let these games be released on PlayStation as well, because like you're gonna be making money either way, and like me personally, I'd be less interested in getting I love these games, but they're not console sellers, and I don't think they've ever have been.
No, they're not, but that's so many studios now that make games that Microsoft doesn't make. Like, Microsoft has been doing a good job about acquiring studios that don't make games that they already make. And, like, to be fair, they don't really have a lot to, like, go with to begin with. Mm-hmm. You know, they have first-person shooters and third-person shooters and car games. Like, that's their bread and butter first party for the most part. Mm-hmm. Now they're getting companies that specialize in immersive RPGs and
first-person shooters.
Well, I mean, yes, like it does that too, but you know what I mean. Like, I mean, frankly, Doom and Halo are two very different style games, also.
Yeah, I mean, Doom's an arena shooter. Halo is not.
Yeah, exactly.
And like those are completely different styles, even though they're both first persons. Doom is a completely different style than Halo.
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't expect many of those games to be on any other platforms because, like, why else purchase them unless you're trying to bolster your first-party catalog?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's the same reason Sony first-party stuff is never going to be on Xbox. And honestly, with the way Sony is with a lot of this stuff, I could see them not being willing to work out a mutually beneficial deal.
Like, the thing that, like, the thing that's on my head right now as well is, like, I think more people got these games on PC and Xbox than they did on PlayStation systems, mostly for the modding.
Yeah, so actually
PC, yeah, for sure.
Well, Xbox was the first place that they did mods for Fallout, or not the first place for Fallout, but Xbox was the first console to allow mod downloads, and that was Fallout 4.
I don't think PlayStation allows mod downloads at all.
They don't. They don't.
Yeah, so
they have a very locked up ecosystem for that sort of thing. But one of the things that they mention in, I want to say actually all three of the posts from the three different guys, is Bethesda was one of the first companies that Microsoft brought in when they were beginning development on the original Xbox back in like 99, 2000. Mm-hmm. And it was to help to get them to bring Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3, to the Xbox. Because at that point, Elder Scrolls 1 and 2, strictly PC, and Morrowind was also going to be strictly PC.
Yeah.
But, you know, they convinced them to roll with it, and the only console place I think you can still play Morrowind is on Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever released for, like, a Sony platform.
Yeah. I'd have to look that up, I'm not sure.
I think Oblivion released on PS3, but I'm not sure. I know
it did.
Oh, yeah.
I know it was more prominent on Xbox 360 though.
Yeah.
Between the consoles at least. So yeah, like I think Xbox and like the Elder Scrolls Fallout sort of area of Bethesda definitely go hand in hand a lot more than PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just I don't really like it because I'm not getting an Xbox, but I'm also planning on building a PC. So, I'm not buying the Xbox Series X or whatever stupid naming conventions they're going to do from here on out. I would much rather just build a PC and just continue buying my PS5s. Or PS5, 6, 7, all the way up. Like, I'm not getting an Xbox system anymore. Because Game Pass is on PC, and the games that I want to play on PC, I need to upgrade my PC. I'd just much rather do that than buy another console.
Just remember, though, that PC Game Pass does not have all the exact same games that Xbox gets.
But I think Microsoft did say that their first-party titles will be on both.
Yes.
Which is probably more what you're looking at, Rich, is like you want to play the first-party stuff and...
Yeah. I don't care about anything besides first-party on the Xbox systems. Like, I have a PS5 or PS4 or whatever for that. It's the first-party stuff that I might be slightly interested in that, like, I mean, I don't really need to get an Xbox to play the next Gears of War because I don't really care about it anymore. But I'd like to try the newer ones out, and if it were on Games Pass, cool. If not, whatever. But there is some decent stuff on Games Pass.
Yeah, and so like I'm the opposite with that. Like, I would much rather spend the $500 on the Xbox than $2,000 on a PC.
I mean, the new video cards are far less expensive than the last round of video cards.
Oh yeah, what is it? The 3080 is what, 500? I think
it's 500 or 600.
Like it's
compared to
insanely
the
affordable,
which was like 1,200 for just
a
video card.
What is it? The 3090 is the like $1,200 or $1,300 card this time, but the 3080 is totally affordable, and that's cool. But like, when you take like that $500 or $600 plus like your processor, your memory, your motherboard, your case, your hard drives, like that's already more than the console. And I don't have, like we talked about this before, like I don't have a setup where I can put a PC in my living room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting up in the second bedroom and playing on my shitty monitors, and I'm not buying, $300 like widescreen monitors either.
Yeah, I mean, I want to use it more than just gaming. Like, I want to start doing video editing and stuff like that. I want to practice around with that shit, as well as maybe streaming and shit as well.
I got a MacBook.
Yeah, you got a MacBook. I'd rather just have the powerful PC and whatnot.
Yeah, no. Like, I have thought a couple of times about like building a PC, and like not like a crazy high end one or anything. Like something like middle of the line, like just to have like a PC that can do things.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I don't. Like I said, I have a MacBook. Like, if it's not Apple friendly, I can't fucking do it.
Yeah.
But then it always comes back to, like, do I want to spend $1,200 to $1,500? Or, and also, like, how long has it been since you guys had to build a PC? Like, 5 to 10 years, right?
Yeah. It's been close to 10 years for me, if not more.
Yeah, same here for me, and it's one of those, like, thinking about building a PC is just like, oh, that seems like so much work.
I'm just going to buy a pre-built one.
That's fair. Like, honestly, like, if Origin stuff wasn't so expensive, I would buy one of those Origin PCs, because those things are super nice, but...
Like, my plan is to buy a pre-built one. Yeah, I'll probably wind up paying, like, roughly $100 more for the exact same parts, but then I also get warranties.
That's true.
I don't get if I buy all the parts and, fucked it up. Guess what? Now I have to buy all the parts again. I'm shit out of luck.
Yeah, and there's like so many weird things that you can fuck up and not realize it until it's too late. Like, if you don't get all of the little mounting screws underneath the motherboard set up rightly, like it can cause like a short. If you don't put in enough thermal paste, or if you put too much thermal paste, it can cause issues. Like, if you don't have enough fans, or the airflow's wrong, or that is not the worst idea.
For me, when I think about it, I need a motherboard, I need a processor, I need RAM, and I need a graphics card. I already have a decently working, like 1,000-watt power supply. I don't really need that. I don't really need a new power supply. My power supply works fine.
You might. So it's not so much the wattage of the power supply; it's what sort of connectors it has, how many connectors it has.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the new video cards, like they need multiple of their own power supply, like power sources. So, like, you might not actually, but power supplies aren't expensive either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the things that I don't think I need to upgrade aren't expensive. Like, the things I know I need, motherboard, processor, RAM, and graphics card are expensive. But what I'm thinking right now is if I get a top-of-the-line motherboard that should last me a couple of years, and piecemeal, like, slowly just get what I need for now to play the current games, and then hopefully my motherboard is good enough to where I can just swap out the video card in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, like, if you get a good motherboard and a good processor, you're good for a while, because then it's like in 3 or 4 years, you buy a new video card.
Yeah.
It's like there are tons of people that are still using like the 1070s and 1080s because the 2000 series it added some of the features that people wanted. Like, it added like ray tracing and 4K support and shit like that, but they're not powerful. They're not any more powerful really than the 1070s and the 1080s and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the 3000 series that actually takes the features people want and also up the power.
Yeah.
So, like, you get one of those, and then, like, maybe 5 years down the road, you get, like, the 470 or 480 or whatever the next one is, and, throw in some higher speed RAM if your motherboard will support it. And
yeah, it's like right now I just know I need to throw out all the money for the motherboard and the processor. Everything else, like I can like wait some time to get the best stuff, which is why I'm more interested in the PC than just getting the console or the pre-built PC. So I also don't need it right away. The first game that I want a PC for will be the next version of Monster Hunter World. That's probably not coming for at least 2-3 years. So
yeah, and I mean honestly, like the like Drew said, like the pre-bought one isn't a bad idea because you're not spending that much more than you would to like piecemeal it, and you're far less likely to have like I mean I remember you talking about replacing the thumbsticks on your Switch controller. Like doing shit inside of a computer case is fucking worse half the time.
Maybe. I don't.
Especially with like the thing I hate the most is a thermal paste. I don't know if you guys have ever really dealt with that because like there was a period where like processors kind of like you could get away without it because like a lot of the heat sinks and stuff like snapped onto it or were like built into them.
Yeah.
But like now it's not that.
Yeah.
I wonder if my hydro cooling would still be usable.
Wait, is your case water cooled?
It is internal water cooled, so it's an entirely internal system. I never had to fill it up or anything, but it is like hydro cooling.
That's kind of cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the thing's pretty cool too because it's just like 2 tubes and a thing that goes right over the processor, and I guess internal like intake and outtake of the water that like circles around. I don't know. It's cool, and I don't know if it'd still be usable because I mean the thing is 10 years old. But
I mean, I wouldn't
my
necessarily
PC
take the
doesn't
chance.
burn out. So.
With what you'd be putting into a new PC, I wouldn't necessarily take the chance, just because most of those parts do get much warmer than they used to. That's why like these video cards now take up like 3 slots and require like their own 6 fans.
It's not.
PCs are crazy. Like I like the idea of a PC more than I like the idea of actually having a PC. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like I think like games on PC look cool and all that, but the idea of like having to sit in this hot room with nothing but like a monitor on my desk to play with, just it's like no man, I want to go sit on my couch and like lay down and fucking be comfortable on my 60-inch TV or however big it is.
I mean,
55.
That's why I have my office set up where I have a couch right in front of my 32-inch TV that's hooked up to.
Yeah, 32 inches is still too small.
I mean, I'm only like
it's not really.
No,
5
not if
feet
you're
away
like
from this TV.
Yeah. If you're like 45 feet away from a 32-inch, then yeah, it's too small. But like 3 to 5 feet away from a 32-inch, you're fine.
No, I mean, and honestly, because developers don't take into account people sitting more than 3 inches away from their screens, playing on PC at a monitor means you can actually read all the text.
Yeah.
Because everyone just makes their fucking games with text based off of where they're sitting when they're fucking developing it. So, you know. But yeah, so anyway, to circle back, like, Microsoft now owns a whole bunch of studios that make popular games. Like, whether we all like them or not. Like, I know you guys are into the Bethesda game studio stuff. Yeah. I think what id does is really cool.
I mean, I still haven't played Doom Eternal, and first Doom was so good.
Neither have I, but there was like a little like tease that it might be coming to Game Pass, which makes 100% sense. So I will probably try it out when that happens. But yeah, even like the Arcane games, like Dishonored and Dishonored 2, like they were super cool. I'm bad at the whole like first person exploration sort of thing, so I'm just not good at them. But they're neat games.
Yeah. I played
the new
Dishonored
Wolfenstein games
2,
have been real good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's true.
Go ahead, Walnut.
No, I was just going to say, I think I played Dishonored 2. I can't remember. I might have played the original Dishonored. I don't know.
They're very cool games. There's like, here's what you need to do, just figure out a way to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Hitmans, but in like this cool steampunk Victorian setting.
Yeah.
And like, I do eventually want to go back and like try them again. It's just those sorts of games and like your like From Software games are the sort of stuff where I want to like them so bad, but I am also just so fucking bad at them that like the interest in them versus the fun I'm having playing them just aren't even close.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Hades. Like I really want to try Hades, but I also don't want to spend $20 on a game that I'm probably going to be bad at and play for 5 minutes and never touch again. That's why I was actually asking you the other day if you'd tried it out at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize it was out of early access. Although, I mean, it came out of early access last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have not tried that.
People are saying all sorts of good things for it, and they released it on Switch. Like, I think it's only on PC and Switch right now.
I think so.
Yeah.
But, that's what if I ever see, like, a $10 sale on, like, the Switch, which it's not a Nintendo game, so it's possible, like, I might grab it and just, give it a shot. But $25 is $25 is a little more than it, like, a little more than I can justify as, like, let's see if I hate this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that game. I do want to try it out.
Yeah, it looks super cool, and, is that Supergiant? Supergiant, right?
Yep.
They've made, like, cool games in the past with, like, Transistor and Bastion and stuff, so.
Yeah.
And just, like, the style of that game looks really cool, and people have been saying all sorts of good things about it all over the place.
Yeah.
And to circle back again to the Microsoft thing, one thing that I picked up in one of the articles I was reading about this, CNBC had an interview with Phil Spencer, like, the day it happened, and they asked him about, like, making any cuts or changes to, like, the staff or to the studios, and his response was, our plan is to leave it alone. So, looks like these studios are still going to get to just do what they're doing and make the games they want to make, for good and bad. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I would hope that Microsoft would put a little bit of, not pressure, but oversight on, like, maybe, like, the game engine and all for these studios, or specifically for the Bethesda game studio stuff, just because their engines are the thing that people complain about the most.
Mm-hmm.
And, they have Microsoft money now. Like, maybe they can fix that engine up a little bit for this new hardware.
Maybe the dragons won't fly backwards.
Exactly.
Maybe they will only fly backward.
You know what? I'd be down for that.
That would actually be okay.
Maybe when they breathe fire, it's actually just them farting at you.
They had some really hot Mexican food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They had Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's mild.
Depends.
And they took all the good shit off the menu.
I'm so mad at that. Like, I used to be able to go and get Nacho Supreme and tacos and then, like, a tostada. Now there's no fucking tostada, no Nacho Supreme. I'm like, what the fuck, guys?
Do they do corn tortillas?
The hard shell only.
Okay, but those are corn tortilla?
Yeah.
Or do you have to request a corn tortilla?
No, those are natural. Generally, hard shell tacos are... generally, hard shells and nacho chips are always corn.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah, the flour tortillas don't really fry the same way. But yeah, so generally when you're having not like tortilla chips or like hard tacos, you're eating corn.
Oh, okay. I mean, that does make sense because frankly, like corn tortillas, like soft corn tortillas, have a very weird and almost like crumbly texture in a weird way.
They're super brittle unless you warm them up the right way.
And even when you warm them up, you still gotta like 2 or 3 ply them to like have like a taco with them and not have everything just blow out of the bottom when you fold it over.
No, because I eat exclusively corn tortillas. It's like if you warm them up on like a skillet or just right on top of the fire, they warm up better and they shouldn't blow out unless you're just overfilling your tacos.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah, so what we normally do, I mean, especially because you figure if we're doing like our own tacos and it's not like in a meal kit, so for whatever reason, like I don't know why this is, but like Wegmans, you can only get corn tortillas in like relatively small packages, unless it's like the giant burrito sized tortillas. Like the little taco ones, the flour tortillas are always like 100 stack of them.
Oh, you're saying okay, flour, yeah.
Yeah, and like we only need like 6 tortillas.
Yeah.
So like we normally buy the corn just because that's the smaller package.
You can buy the 30-pack. I know a lot of people who would warm up their corn tortillas in the microwave. Don't do that.
No, I mean that's what we do because we buy the corn tortillas. We're going to have, 3 tacos each and warming up 6 tortillas in a pan while we're trying to like cook. Like we only have one big pan too. So like we have to cook everything, clean out the pan, and then put the tortilla in it.
Hear me out. There's 2 options here. Option number 1, the oven.
Wouldn't that make it hard, though?
I mean, you're toasting it in the oven. That's what you need to do with corn tortillas is toast them. You can even put them in the toaster. You toast them. You're not like, warming them up does nothing structurally to them except make them soggy. If you toast them, they get less soggy and they hold their structural integrity. So either A, put them in the oven for, like, probably 350 for the amount of time that it takes you to cook it. Just make sure they don't burn. Or, and this is the best investment you can ever make, get one of those, like, tortilla warming or holder thingies. Warm up the tortillas first and put them in there and then put that in and just hold that. And that they'll stay good and they'll stay warm.
Are they like the little metal racks that, like, restaurants put tacos in when they bring them out to you?
Well, like the brown plastic things.
Brown plastic? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's got a lid, and you open it up, it seals, and you just put the tortilla in.
Oh, like the thing that, like, Don Pablo's used to bring out with the tortillas on, like, for fajitas.
Yes.
Oh.
Just get one of those. They're great.
Man, I don't know how many times you make tacos. We make tacos, like, once every 6 months.
Well, maybe if you had these and knew how to do corn tortillas, you'd have tacos more often.
I mean, like, I like tacos, but I don't like I like going out and getting a taco more than I like making a taco.
The problem is getting all the ingredients to make tacos. It's fucking expensive.
It is, and you also figure, like, I'm gonna want like chicken or steak or something like that, and then we'll have to also buy the fish and, like, cook. Like, we have to have, like, 2 pans and, like.
It's not even. It's like getting the meat, the cheese, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the whatever, like, all the fixins. You add all that up, it's like, you know what, I could have just gone to Don Pablo's and gotten five tacos for less than this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, granted, Don Pablo's
I kind of disagree with that whole statement right there. I feel like tacos is one of the cheapest things you get home.
I mean, I think it depends, like what sort of ingredients you're buying and, like, what quality, too. Because, like, there's certain things that you can't buy in small batches. Like, if you're trying to buy cilantro, which I know, Drew, you wouldn't buy cilantro, but, like, if you're trying to buy cilantro, like, that shit only comes in, like, a bushel.
But that's generally 99 cents a bushel.
I mean, you're right, but that was just the first taco ingredient I could think of that only came in, like.
But it's like, say if you want to make your own pico, well, you're going to need to get about 3 or 4 tomatoes and at least 1 red onion and some cilantro. If you want that, you're going to have to chop all those up, and 3 or 4 tomatoes, that's going to cost you $4 or $5. The red onion's probably not going to cost you more than $1. Avocados or guacamole's generally extra, so I'm not going to add that to it. But the package of cheese is $2 or $3 for the Mexican blend cheese or whatever.
I mean, the proteins too. Like, you figure, like, for us, if I'm getting, like, say I'm getting like a skirt steak or something like that, like a thin, like, beef, like, that's anywhere from $5 to $8 depending on, like, the quality. Yeah. And then, like, Erica would usually do, like, shrimp, which is probably another $8 to $11 depending on, like, how many shrimp.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, meat alone is now more expensive than just the.
Granted, like, yes, you can save that and have more tacos the next day or taco-related things.
You're gonna get, like, 10 tacos out of what you paid $20 for all the ingredients on. 25, where, like, you go to, like, a Don Pablo's, like, 5 tacos, $12. And
well, I mean, not anymore, because Don Pablo's closed.
Well, because Don Pablo's sucked. But
like, you can go to, oh my god, I always forget the name of the fucking place out in Lindenwald. La Esperanza.
Yeah.
Like, where, like, it's real good, authentic, like, Mexican food, and it's not super expensive, but, like, I'd rather get those tacos than whatever shitty tacos I'm gonna make at home. Because, like, let's be real, like, I'm bad at cooking.
Well,
if I don't have,
that's fair.
Yeah, if I don't have, like the Blue Apron or Home Chef, like, menu in front of me, like, probably not coming out real good. And that's why I like the Home Chef stuff, because, like, we'll get tacos from that, and I follow the instructions, and they're a decent, 3 tacos for each of us, and it's enjoyable and easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Enough about tacos. Where were we? Right. So Microsoft isn't going to make any changes to their to the Bethesda stuff. Hopefully things get a little bit better with, that engine over there. It looks like Bethesda is still going to technically be publishing their games too.
Weird.
So I guess it'll be like one of these things where it'll have, like, the Microsoft Game Studios logo, but Bethesda will be doing, like, all of the legwork for it. Bethesda Softworks, anyway. And the only other thing that I kind of saw about this whole deal that I thought was actually kind of cool, in Todd Howard's blog post about this, he was talking, I guess, I don't know when this was, but at some point he got the Lifetime Achievement Award at GDC. And in his speech, he made a joke about he wondered how many achievement points it was worth. And I guess he was joking around with some like friends he knew at Microsoft, like at GDC after that. And like a few weeks later, got emailed a code for a game that was locked to his account. He is the only person that could download and play this game. And as soon as it was named, it was his name. And as soon as he installed it and launched it, it just gave him one achievement for 1,000 points that just said Lifetime. And like, he's the only person in the world that has that achievement.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of cool.
I will say about this Bethesda stuff. Congratulations to the PS5 for being the first system to not exclusively not have Skyrim on it.
But
I saw that tweet from somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, so. I saw a few people saying that. I also saw. I don't know if you guys saw any of this. People were pointing out very quickly after this purchase that New Vegas 2 could happen because they now own Obsidian and Bethesda.
Interesting.
And somebody tweeted at Obsidian, and Obsidian just did like the like shrugging shoulders like emoji sort of thing. Like, yeah. Who knows? So, and I think that is like the most liked of the Fallout games is the one that Bethesda didn't make. So, you know, take that for what you will. But like, Microsoft is kind of getting themselves by buying Bethesda and already having Obsidian. Like, they're definitely putting themselves in a position that they haven't been in a long time with RPGs. Like, 360 had a lot of weird RPGs on it. Like, wasn't Eternal Sonata and
Eternal Sonata,
Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, I think, were all exclusive to them.
Mm-hmm. Lost Odyssey and Last Remnant.
Oh, right, Last Remnant. I forgot about that one.
That was
that one just released on Switch, didn't it? Too?
Did it?
I think that just got ported to Switch.
You know, I think it did.
Not but, like, just, but
like it was as far as I can remember, those 4 were all Xbox.
Yeah, and they had varying degrees of success and praise. I actually didn't play any of those though, because I really didn't play a lot in the 360 era on the 360.
Yeah, but Blue Dragon was great. Last Remnant was great. I didn't play Lost Odyssey, and Eternal Sonata was fucking fantastic. But like the unfortunate thing is like the West isn't that big of RPG like area, so like that's where the Xbox sells more. So like people don't tend to focus on Xbox RPGs because RPGs are more for the East, and so not for the East, but like there's bigger RPG fans and a wider number of RPG fans like in the Eastern Hemisphere than there is in the West.
And I think that was true during the 360 era, like your mid-2000s. But I think that's changed a lot over the last generation of console. Mm-hmm. Just because you have games like the Personas and Xenoblades and even like your Monster Hunters, which have like a role-playing aspect to them without the story, that have gotten huge in like the US and other like Western countries.
Yeah.
That like I think Microsoft could actually do pretty well if they could do more of those. I mean, like all these studios do very like American RPG.
Yeah,
like,
I was about to say that the Bethesda RPGs are a wildly different thing than like JRPG.
Yeah,
but like if they could license some like JRPGs too, like I think they would actually see like, at least a moderate success with them. But like Sony has a lot of that stuff kind of on lockdown. Like I believe like they're going to be the console launch exclusive for Final Fantasy 16. Like they have the exclusive deal for all the Persona games.
Yeah.
So like Microsoft, if Microsoft wants some of that, they'll have to like find a smaller studio that's doing it and get in with them, or just throw a whole lot of money at Square or Sega to get some of that shit released on their platform.
I mean, I would kind of wonder if Sony is now thinking about throwing that money at Square, or in the meantime to counteract what Microsoft has been doing.
That would be a bold move to send it over to like Square.
So I've actually seen a lot of people speculating that that Sony should or could or would purchase Bluepoint or From,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of lock those down.
Okay, yeah.
From would not surprise me at all.
No, not me either. And like Bluepoint would actually probably be a good one for them because like they already use them for a bunch of stuff.
I'm not sure what they make.
I knew it 2 minutes ago, and then proceeded to immediately forget it. So I actually just brought up their thing. So like they did PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Oh.
They're actually the team that's doing. That's right. Okay, fuck. So they do a lot of the collections and ports and everything. So they did the God of War collection. They did the Ico Shadow of the Colossus collection for PS3. The Metal Gear HD collection. They did the Nation Drake collection for PS4, and then Shadow of the Colossus for PS4, and they are doing the Demon Souls remake for PS5.
Okay.
Oh.
And they're co-developing that with Japan Studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they do a lot of that stuff, and a lot of those are Sony games. So like it would make sense. Like in fact, actually looking at like the games they've done, they have only done 2 games on Xbox. And that's the Metal Gear Solid HD collection and Titanfall. But that was excuse me, sorry. That they ported Titanfall to 360 from Xbox One because why the fuck not, right?
Yeah.
That is a thing I forgot even happened.
Yeah, because I forgot Titanfall came out like that early in the generation. But yeah, I don't see Sony. I don't know. Sony's been in such a weird place lately, like we were talking about before. I don't see them dropping huge money on a studio like Sega or Square, particularly because, like, honestly, Sony doesn't have Microsoft money.
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't necessarily know that they would go and entirely buy out a Square or a Sega, but I could see them throwing a large chunk of money to get some level of exclusivity with...
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe they go, nope, Final Fantasy 16 never coming out on an Xbox. It'll only be PS4 or PS5.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, would Square even do that? Like, would they risk that relationship? Because, like, you figure Microsoft funded Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yes, because that game so well.
I'm not saying it like broke the bank or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, they've at least had a history with Microsoft enough with some of their other franchises that, like, would they let Sony just, like, commandeer full franchises from them? Probably. If the money was right, like, why wouldn't they, right?
I mean, they already do timed exclusivity on, and some entire limited exclusivity, some things on Sony platform with...
Yeah.
Hitman is timed exclusive on PS5, or has timed exclusive content.
But that's not a Square Enix game anymore.
Oh, right, I forgot, they got rid of IO. Never mind. But, well...
I see what you're saying, though.
Marvel has a Sony exclusive character.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy's already a timed exclusive on PS5. They probably sell kind of shit on Xbox anyway.
I mean, this generation for sure, because so few people own Xbox Ones.
But I mean, like, did people... I'd like to see the difference in sales numbers for, like, Final Fantasy 13 on PS3 versus...
Yeah, no, I mean, you're probably right. Like, honestly, PS3 probably sold far more of those. But like we were saying before, I feel like the Sony is where you go for JRPGs, Xbox is where you go for shooters. Like, that's kind of been the divide in those two.
Yeah.
At least in my mind. Like, that's kind of how I look at those two platforms. Or BioWare. For whatever reason, I associate BioWare with Xbox.
Because Mass Effect 1 didn't come out on the PS3 originally?
I mean, that is probably part of it. Plus, you had, like Knights of the Old Republic was also over there. But I think the only BioWare game I've ever gotten that I didn't get on Xbox was Dragon Age, the first one.
Okay.
But, like, yeah, like, all the Mass Effects I purchased on Xbox. KOTOR was obviously Xbox. So, I don't know. But, yeah, so that's a thing that happened, and I'm sure we'll see more of it. Just real quick, I finished Tell Me Why.
Tell me why.
It was good. Like, it was very much like any of those episodic games where, like, the first chapter is really good, and the last chapter is really good, and the middle chapter is, like, fine.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't bad. I felt like some of the stuff drug on a little bit more than it probably needed to. And honestly, like, the middle, like, Chapter 2 is the one where I'm like, fuck, what did I even do in Chapter 2? Whereas, like, Chapter 1 and 3, like, I very clearly know, like, alright, yeah, no, this was what happened in those chapters. Definitely didn't expect the game to go the way that it did. At the beginning of the game, like, my entire mentality was like, oh wow, their mom really sucked. And, like, as the game goes on, it's like, oh man, their mom had a really rough fucking go of it.
Yeah.
Like, she still wasn't great, but, like, by the end of it, you're like, oh, huh. Well, that certainly, you know, changes some of my thoughts on her and the people in this town. The, like, quote-unquote villain of it, if that's what you want to say. Oh shit, that was on Wednesday last week, wasn't it?
Yeah,
okay.
Just continue what you're talking.
Sorry, I got distracted by you highlighting things. Yeah, like, the quote-unquote villain of the show was, or the game, I did not see it coming. I didn't expect them to go the obvious route with it, but I just, the person that it ended up being, for whatever reason, I just never fucking thought it was going to be that person, because they just seemed so sort of unimportant overall. I think that probably the biggest complaint I have, though, is, and we talked a little bit about this last week, like, I don't really know much about, like LGBT, like, communities, and, like, kind of how all that stuff goes. Just, like, I don't make new friends, like, I don't know anybody that is in those communities. So, like, I don't really know what it's like for them, other than what I see in, like, other media and on the news and stuff, and, like, it looks rough, and people seem to really suck. And frankly, like, judging by every other thing people do, most people do fucking suck. And everyone in this, like, weird, small, remote town in Alaska seemed just too accepting. I know that's, like, a weird complaint, and I'm sure they were trying to do that to not, to try and, like, give, like, a positive experience. But, like, one of the side characters in the game is gay. And he's pretty clear about that. Like, he's not hiding it. But you have a discussion with him, and he basically tells you, like, that town, like, it's hard to be gay in that town. Like, people definitely treat him differently and stuff. But all these people that you're seeing as Tyler, who, like, you haven't seen since you were 10 years old, like, are just, they very quickly accept that, like, he's trans, and that they're fine with that. And I think that's awesome, but it also doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't say for sure, and you don't know what the developers' intentions were in the background, but it could also be like, they're like, alright, these characters are going to be initially accepting, but behind the scenes, quote, even though they're, like, these characters are just zeros and ones, behind the scenes, they're not accepting of it, but in face value, they are accepting of it, type of thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just, even like, little things, like, nobody ever, and, like, this is actually a good thing, it's not bad, but, like, nobody ever, like, second guesses him on his gender. Like, these people that, like, knew him as a different person when he was a child, like, there's, like, one person that, like, says something stupid, but it's not even, it's bad, but it's not that bad, if that makes sense. But, like, there's one woman who, she's incredibly religious. Like, I think I mentioned it last week, like, she was trying to convince their mother to send him to conversion therapy camp. But, like, at a certain point, you come to, like, the point where, like, you can either forgive or, like, stay mad at her. And the whole thing is, like, she's like, I totally accept you. We're good. Like, I don't mind. But can you ever find it in your heart to forgive me? And I'm like, that doesn't seem to add up with the rest of your personality leading up to this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
And, like, I think it could have been done, I think that whole thing with everyone that was kind of, like, quote-unquote family to him when he was a child accepting him, I think that could have been done fine this way, but I think it just needed a little bit more, like, exploration leading up to that, because you don't have a ton of interactions with some of these people before they're just like, oh yeah, I fucked up, like, 10 years ago, like, I did a nasty thing, but, like, the nasty thing I did had nothing to do with you, so, like, can you forgive me for that shitty thing I did, and, like, we'll just be cool and friendly again? And, yeah, like, it's just, I don't know. Because, like, a lot of times, like, the woman that, like, they're confronting that's super religious, the things she did had not, like, other than, like, the conversion therapy thing was shitty, and she claims, and, I mean, this is how it's written, at least, that, like, at the time of her recommending that, she didn't actually know what it was. Like, she knew what it was, but she didn't know, like, what it actually was.
Yeah.
But, like, the shitty thing she did that has them mad at her, totally unrelated to that. Like, has nothing to do with that part of it at all. So it's just, that's the only thing that seemed weird. Like, if they were, like, around here, or, like, in another, like, you know, modern, urban, like, populated area, I could get it. But, like, they're in this tiny-ass little town where, like, there's one store and one fucking restaurant, and the same person owns both of them.
Yeah.
And, like, to have, like, the gay guy basically telling you, like, oh, yeah, no, it sucks around here. Like, no one kind of gets it. Like, I get fucking stares and stuff. And then to see his experience with a similar community be just completely the opposite is, like, that just doesn't seem to...
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, but, like, the story was still super cool. Definitely, like, by the time you get to the end of it, you're just, like... It was one of those where, like, something happened, I read the text, and, I literally just went, oh, shit. And, like, even Erica looked over, and she's like, what? I'm like, this thing that just like, holy shit, I didn't see this coming. Cause, like, the whole game, there's, like, puzzles that you have to solve, but it's not like your average game puzzles. Like those sort of games where it's like, oh, you just have to find, like, the right way to, like, turn the water on or whatever. They're legitimate puzzles because your mom was kind of crazy, but also super artistic and creative. So, like, she did all these things that in order to, like, open something or to, like, get into something, you'd have to solve a puzzle. And most of the answers to the puzzle are in the storybook that you and her wrote when you were a child.
Yeah.
And it's, like, all these really detailed stories about, like, these characters, and, like, it's super interesting the way they do that, but the end section is you're actually unlocking, like, a bunch of different puzzles that, like, each time you complete one, the next one unlocks. And it's all about, it's basically telling you about your mother that, like, you just didn't know because you were a child when she died. And, like, you're reading some of that, you're like, oh, holy shit. Okay. Like, that's where this is going. But yeah, I think it's on PC. I'm pretty sure you can get it on PC Games Pass, and it doesn't look like it's that intense of, like, a game that, like, your PCs wouldn't be able to play it. Like, if you have, like, 8 hours to kill and you want, like, just, like, a really interesting, narratively driven game, I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, it's available on Windows.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's available on Game Pass for Windows. Oh, no, yeah, it is. Never mind. It's there. So Game Pass is a little weird on the phone. Some things show as, like, some games show as separate for PC, others just say plays on console and PC. This is one of the ones that is, two separate items. But, yeah, no, it definitely is. But yeah, it's definitely, like, I would definitely check it out if you guys have the time and you're not opposed to, like, those quote-unquote walking simulators.
Yeah.
So, last week...
Oh boy.
Last week we were talking about this a little bit while we were recording. Sony, there was all sorts of pre-order mayhem. Sony was a disaster. It's not entirely their fault.
I wouldn't even say it's not entirely their fault. Like, I don't think it's their fault at all. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna stand by it. I don't think it's their fault.
Obviously, it's not their fault that scalpers are shitty and use bots to just gobble up pre-orders. Like, that's going to happen regardless. It happened with Sony and Microsoft and the fucking the Nvidia cards. Like, this same thing happened with them.
Yeah.
The thing that Sony fucked up with was they told us months ago that one of their executives said very clearly, we will tell you exactly when and where you can get your pre-orders. When and where. Exactly. We didn't get any of that. We got a tweet from somebody that doesn't work at Sony telling us that pre-orders would go up the next day at some point at verified retailers. That's all we got.
Yeah, it was also on their blog post of that night where pre-orders will open up as early as tomorrow at some retail.
But that's the thing. As early as tomorrow at some retailers. That is not exactly when and where you can pre-order.
That is not either of those things at all.
That is the vaguest way you can possibly fucking say that.
Sure, but I just because somebody said 3 months ago, we're going to tell you exactly when and where and what and blah, 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 and they turn around and they do it like this, I don't blame them for what the fuck happened.
No, I'm not blaming them for the way that like, scalpers purchase systems. I'm blaming them for bad communication. Like, I like Sony, but, like, all of their communication on this has been very bad. Their whole thing so Jim Ryan kept saying, like, we believe in generations when people were asking about backwards compatibility with, like, older generations. Like, that was his tagline. PS5 is not backwards compatible with anything but PS4. Mm-hmm. Not a huge deal. Like, I don't personally care, but it's one of those, it's like, don't answer your question about backwards compatibility with we believe in generations to not actually give people access to multiple generations. Like, just say, we're looking to see where it's viable. That's the fucking answer. It's a non-committal response.
Or we believe in generations, as in we believe separation of generations, and this is a new generation, and we don't think necessarily that backwards compatibility is needed. I'm not saying...
And that's not what they say. Like, he would just kept saying, we believe in generations.
But, like, that... Yeah, miscommunication, misinterpretation, communication, and that you can interpret it two separate ways. But, like, I don't know. This whole pre-order fiasco, like, I don't blame them for them saying it'll be available tomorrow. Like, I don't blame them for, like, the quick, like, some people are going to get it, or some retailers are going to get it tomorrow, which was Thursday. I don't blame them for that, because, like you said, scalpers and people who have time can set up bots and figure things out and figure out how to cheat the system and get X amount of systems when they shouldn't, and upsell them for $1,000 a piece and whatnot.
But, like, that happens with everything. That happens with sneakers. Every time, like, a new set of Jordans comes out, that's what happens. Like, It's shitty, but that's the way the market works. They need to put fucking captchas on things so that people can't use bots, but stores don't, like, retailers don't care because they're getting paid either way, so they don't actually care about the consumer, they just care about their profit.
And therein lies where I sit here and say I don't blame Sony for any of this, because what if their press release to retailers was, here's relatively how many you're going to be getting or whatever, don't start pre-orders until such and such time on such and such day, let your consumers know, whatever. Like, maybe they were trying a social media campaign where they let everyone know, like, pre-orders are coming out, and then the retailers are like, look, here's when we're going to have them, here's when we're going to have them. It's the whole Walmart thing that fucked everything up.
Yes, Walmart tweeting out the we're not waiting, here's your pre-orders thing, and then every other company just fumbling to get their things ready.
Pretty much turning around saying, we didn't know we could do that. Let's do it. Like,
but at the same time, if Sony had come out and been clear on it, even if they had done it in the fucking not the direct, they're not Nintendo, in the state of play or whatever they were calling that thing, instead of waiting for a blog post that, like, not everyone knows to go to the fucking Sony blog to read about that stuff. Which is where, like...
I didn't even know there was a blog post about it.
Yeah, so if they had said in that blog post, pre-orders happen on Monday, and this was Wednesday, or even Friday, let's say Friday. If they were like, in this blog post, pre-orders will go live Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, or like 9 a.m. local time, or however it would work out. Cool. Like, that's a day for it to kind of get out there. But for them to just go, it's going to go live tomorrow. That means, it could be live at midnight. It could be live at 9 a.m. Like, that doesn't give anybody a chance other than people with bots that can just set their shit to keep refreshing to get one. Like, there's no way anyone can even try at that point. Like, I'm not going to stay up till midnight and just sit there all night refreshing Walmart's page to see if I can pre-order a fucking PlayStation. I'm just not going to pre-order one.
Yep.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I don't put this on... I put this on the retailers. I put it on the retailers. I don't put it on Sony.
But Sony also didn't do anything to stop this either.
Yeah,
like Walmart,
What could Sony do after they put them up? Did Sony send out a tweet, hey, stop putting them up, or call them up? All their systems were sold out already. You can't stop that.
When you send out the press release telling them when they can put up pre-orders, you set strict embargoes on. If they break those embargoes, they lose quantity.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Microsoft told them. And like, you tell them that ahead of time. Like, Microsoft told them, if they break embargo, they will get less. It's the same way that, like, when a game releases, and it has that red tape on it that says, do not open until street date, if one of the reps comes into a GameStop and sees that box has been fucking opened, that store gets fined.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a monetary fine that goes against that company now, because a store broke street date. And there's a chance that they will not get copies of the next big game from that publisher.
And do you know if Sony set an embargo or not?
No, and that's what God is saying is they should have.
But do you know if they did or didn't?
They obviously didn't because Walmart didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, if Walmart did not give that much of a fuck about this, there was clearly no rule about it.
Because look at it this way. Microsoft did tell them this. Walmart did not put their pre-orders up until like 10 minutes after 11 o'clock Eastern time. And the time for pre-orders to go live was 8 a.m. Pacific time in the U.S.
I also wound up hearing all that was a clusterfuck, too. So.
It was for a variety of different reasons, but also the same reasons. Look, Rich, I agree with you. It is not entirely Sony's fault. The retailers fucked this also, and scalpers fucked this. But, I think Sony dropped the ball on communication across the board.
Yeah.
I will admit, yes, maybe they should have either said when pre-order date was going up, either on Twitter or on the thing. The fact that it was on a blog post, kind of BS. But also, the fact that they relied on Jeff Keighley, kind of BS. But at the same time, I honestly, when you give me the information, here's the release date, I'm not expecting pre-orders to be ready the next day. I was honestly expecting a couple days away. The thing that actually kind of blows my mind is that PlayStation did their own pre-order lottery system that I was a part of, that those pre-orders didn't go live until Friday.
Yeah, and those actually worked.
It went so smoothly. I clicked in right at 1 o'clock Eastern time, which was 10 o'clock, right? Yeah, 10 o'clock West time. I clicked in right at 1 o'clock, got me right into the store, and I bought my thing. Whereas Eric apparently clicked in at 12:59 and then was given a 45-minute wait. So I clicked in a minute after him, but got my system before he did.
Yeah, that's dumb. And I saw a lot of people manage to get systems. Mm-hmm. There were a good amount of people that still didn't manage to get systems.
Me, for one.
No, but did you actually get a link to Sony?
Oh, you mean just through the Sony thing? No.
Yeah.
I didn't even get an invite.
Yeah, so I went to the thing and signed up for it, but did not get an invite link to try and purchase one.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get to see that shit. But that went smoothly because it was locked to your account. So you could only buy one as yourself. You couldn't sell that. You couldn't do jack shit with it. You got it, you could buy it.
Limit one per person, one system per person. I don't know about everything else, but one system per person, limited. You couldn't get any. You couldn't get more than
that was
system.
the only thing super limited.
Yeah, everything else I'm sure you could have bought multiple headsets, multiple control. I'm definitely sure multiple controllers, but one system per person. And after you made your purchase, if you wanted to go back in and say maybe buy another system or whatever else, you had to re-enter the queue. And
honestly, I don't think you could even buy another system. I think it was like you said, it was one system, one console per person.
Mm-hmm.
But you're allowed to go back in to purchase peripherals and games pre-orders and stuff like that.
Yeah, because after I bought the system with the disc tray, the headset, and the charge station, I was after I bought all that, because I was I don't know how much time I actually have, and if they get sold out before I make my purchase, so I quickly bought those. And I was maybe I'll do want another controller. I went to go in to buy the second controller, and it put me into the queue, and I'm I don't need it. But also Eric had a 45-minute wait, so I just wanted to go back into the queue to see
if you could get in there again before him.
Yeah, where it would queue me, and I jumped in, it was 25 minutes, but it went up for the 30 seconds that I was in there. It went up a couple of minutes, so I'm sure it would have gotten higher than 45 minutes by the end of it.
Yeah, because the consoles were still first come first serve. So the smart thing to do is honestly jump in there, grab the console as quickly as you can, and just check the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
I think once you're
going to be available.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Eric bought his system on the lottery from Sony, but then after he bought the system, went to go buy everything from Target because he wanted the headset and everything else. Because I guess he saves 10% from buying from Target or something.
Target had some sort of weird deal for the peripherals. Yeah.
Went to go buy all that stuff. They were all sold out. He's fuck, and had to go back in, wait in line, and buy all his peripheral.
Yeah, and So Sony, obviously, like, it's theirs, so I think, so they obviously, I don't think they sent, like, a drastically expanded number of those invites compared to, like, the allotment that they had for themselves. Like, they definitely oversent them because you always have people that maybe don't actually go to buy it, and they want to sell out of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, they also had the most availability for peripherals compared to everyone else. And I think a lot of people were going to Target for peripherals because there was, like, a discount on that stuff. Versus, like, I follow, do either of you follow Wario64 on Twitter?
Yeah. Although I don't look at Twitter much anymore.
So, Rich, you should follow him. He tweets all of the deals on games.
Okay.
Yeah, that entire Twitter account is just, here's this sale going on right now, here's this sale.
Yeah, so I turned on, like, actual notifications, so I get alerted when he tweets stuff, and, like, he just, all fucking day. Oops, sorry. All fucking day, I'm getting shit from him pop up. But, like, in those couple of days, like, between, like, Wednesday night and, like, Friday, there were a lot of alerts of, like, hey, such and such has PS5 controllers or headsets or whatever. So, like, those things were kind of cycling into stock a little bit more. The consoles, I think Walmart had one more round of them on Thursday. It was Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. They put consoles up. Those consoles were gone by 1 minute after. I don't know how many they had. I got as far as clicking purchase. Like literally, like, had all my information entered, hit purchase, and then it refreshed to, sorry, we're sold out.
Yeah, I had everything in. I clicked checkout, and it just wouldn't load the checkout screen when I was doing it on Best Buy.
Yeah, so Best Buy, from what I heard, Wednesday night when everything happened, Best Buy was actually the worst place to try and get it because their site was just fucked. Amazon, Target, and Walmart were actually far more likely to grab. But I was only looking at Best Buy because I wanted to be able to physically go pick it up. Because, Amazon's not getting it to you on the 12th. Like, it's just, it's not happening. They've even sent emails out telling people they're not getting it on the 12th.
Did they?
Yeah, so Amazon sent basically every single person that pre-ordered a PlayStation 5 through them to let them know that due to high demand, they cannot guarantee a delivery date. And, like, Amazon in the last year has just become abysmal at getting things on release date to people.
That makes me think maybe it's more so that they sold more than they actually got, and not as much that they're definitely not going to get people the console. Like, people will get theirs on launch possible. Day. But, like, I have a feeling because Amazon is such a shitty company as well, they probably just sold over the amount they're getting, hoping that they're going to get more. Yeah,
I mean, that's entirely possible. But also you figure, depending on, like, the area and how many, like, distribution centers they have, like, they literally might not have enough people to deliver these things in November. Like,
maybe.
But, and Walmart just cancels pre-orders all the fucking time. Like, not necessarily, I haven't heard about PlayStation 5 pre-orders being canceled yet, but, like, tons of people were just expecting, like, I got one in at Walmart, I'm waiting for them to email me that it's canceled any day now.
The thing that pisses me the most off about Walmart is somebody tweeted at them at 11 o'clock at night, like, looks like you're sold out of your PS5s, and they had the fucking audacity to turn around and be like, actually, it doesn't go on sale until midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are you fucking kidding me, Walmart? Like, which kind of brings me back to I think Sony might have done something to them, which is why they had that additional come up on Thursday at 9 o'clock, but...
It's possible, but, like I said, like, Walmart sucked, but, like, Sony's communication with it was just poor, because, again, like, Walmart said midnight. Who's to say that other, like, we didn't know it was supposed to be midnight, even though it wasn't. Like, they just said sometime the next day.
Yeah.
That's bad communication for consumers. Like, especially because you could not, I think GameStop may have been one of the only places that was allowing in-person pre-orders. Because when I went to pick up Super Mario 3D All-Stars, somebody in front of me was asking about the like, not asking to get a PlayStation 5 pre-order, but asking, like, what sort of shit show the store had been. And the guy at the desk was just like, oh, we're not doing them in store. Like, you can only pre-order them online. He's like, we had 30 people waiting outside on Thursday morning, and we had to just tell them all, like, there's no pre-orders. Like,
Yeah.
So, like, that stuff only being available online definitely needed better communication. And, like, Walmart still needs, like, an actual repercussion for that, but, like, they sold them already, like you said, so there's nothing they can do.
And it only being sold online, that's definitely not on Sony, that's on Best Buy. Like,
oh yeah, but no, I was just saying, I think GameStop is the only place doing in-person pre-orders.
That's kind of on the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't blaming that on Sony. I was just like, Sony knows there's a pandemic and people are going to be trying to do this online. Like, giving people just communicating. That's all I'm saying. They just needed to communicate a little bit.
Hold on real quick. So speaking of the Wario64 Twitter account, they tweeted 40 minutes ago, they're hearing that GameStop may be doing in-store only pre-orders for the disc version of the PlayStation 5 on Friday. Not confirmed by GameStop, but is what they have heard from employees, or an employee anyway. So GameStop may be doing some in-store pre-orders on Friday.
Which is cool. Like, yeah, good for them. I know I saw some people posting online for the Xbox stuff where they did, like, GameStop did, like, their classic, like, a piece of paper printed out with, like, the Xbox One X, or Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S on it, and they just were writing in how many they had of each for pre-orders. And, like, every store had, like, 6 X's and, like, 2 or 3 S's. So it's like, man, I hope if people wanted them, like, they got in line early.
Yeah.
Though, unrelated to that, I saw somebody on Discord, I forget what server it was on, saying that they had been waiting outside of a Micro Center for 22 hours to get a 3090 tomorrow. Somebody from the store came out, let them know that they had 26 cards. He was the 24th person in line. So, if he was back 3 places, he would not be getting a video card tomorrow. But he still has to wait till tomorrow morning when the store opens to actually get the card.
Yeah.
Which, that's insane. So, Sony did actually come out, though, and they tweeted an apology. I'm going to bring that up real quick so I can actually just read it. Come on, Twitter. So they tweeted this on the 19th, which I think was Saturday. Does that sound right, or was that Friday?
That was Saturday, yes.
Okay. Let's be honest. PS5 pre-orders could have been a lot smoother. We truly apologize for that. Over the next few days, we will release more PS5 consoles for pre-order. Retailers will share more details. And more PS5s will be available through the end of the year. So, that is at least better communication than we got before that. You know, they're telling us they're going to release more. Retailers will have details on when they are going to put them up for pre-order. So at this point, like, it's 100% on the retailers. If the retailers don't communicate when they're doing the pre-orders, that is not Sony's fault at all. Like, they went the step to tell us we're releasing more to retailers. Retailers will share details. Like, at that point, like, if it's another clusterfuck when, like, more consoles get released, so I do not fault Sony on that at all. So Microsoft, on the other hand, it was a little bit better. Just not much. Not really, like, if you kind of, like, put them next to each other on, like, a bar graph, like, they'd basically be at the same spot. But, I think it felt just slightly more organized because it was more organized because it wasn't that just, like, mad rush and chaos that the PS5s were because of Walmart. So Microsoft gave the exact date and time when pre-orders were going to happen. Which is great for people because that means, you know, you could be online, you could have multiple devices ready to go, refreshing the pages for the different stores. But it also gives scalpers the chance to do the same thing. So, like, it's a double-edged sword. The stores actually getting their consoles up to purchase was just fucking wild. So, it was for the US, it was 9 a.m. Pacific time. So that was 11 a.m. our time. I was keeping an eye on all this, and I did pre-order a Series X at Amazon. I'm probably not keeping it. I'm not going to, like, sell it for some stupid amount of money. I'm not going to be shitty about it.
Are you sure it just wasn't a 1X?
I'm positive. We'll get to that. But I did pre-order a Series X. And I have reasons for that I'll talk about later. But so, Walmart and Target went up first. They went up right around 11 a.m. when they should have. They both sold out pretty quickly. Not as quickly as the PS5 did, but definitely pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
Best Buy and Amazon were not up at 11. Amazon went up at about 11:50, so almost an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
And Best Buy didn't go up until about 12:05.
Okay.
So, what time did you say they were supposed to go up?
11 a.m. Eastern time.
No, what was the Pacific time?
8 a.m. I said 9 a.m.
Okay,
that's my bad.
Okay, because I thought earlier you said 9, and I'm like, and then you said 11, and I'm like, wait, that's...
Yep, nope, that's my bad.
Okay.
8 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So yeah, like, two of the biggest retailers didn't go up for almost an hour, which was just fucking weird. So I wasn't planning on pre-ordering. I literally just happened to refresh my Amazon page, and it was there, and it said pre-order, so I just clicked it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's as much thought as I put into it. And the other reason I did it there is they don't charge you until it ships, so...
That's the cool thing about the PS5 through Sony. They don't charge you until it ships.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Best Buy's the same way. I think Walmart actually charges you, or at least puts a hold on your card immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was one of those, it's like, like, let's see what happens come, the beginning of November. And like, honestly, like, if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, oh, I really wanted the Xbox or whatever, like, I'll sell it to them. Like I'll sell them the pre-order for, like, the cost of the pre-order. Like, I don't want to make money off of it or anything like that. Like, it's $4.99, give me $4.99 in tax, and I will change the address to go to your house.
Yeah. I just a quick aside, I got an extra copy of Ring Fit Adventure by accident.
I saw you say that.
I didn't. It was the copy that got lost was found and mailed to me, or the shipping finished last week. So I like sent out a text to like some of my friends who we have a Switch group chat, and one person's like, "I kind of want that." I'm like, "All right, I'll split the difference with you then. $40. This way, we paid for half and we got 2 copies. I'm not going to charge you full price for something I got for free." So
yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't think I know anybody that necessarily wants the Xbox that's going to buy it at launch. But if I do, and I mean, if they're a shitty person, I don't like them, I might charge them a little bit more.
Yeah. Delivery fee.
Yeah, but like, it's one of those, it's like, oh yeah, no, like, I have one pre-ordered, like, I don't really need it. Like, it's $540, I think, after tax. Like,
just get me the money before it comes out of my account and we're good.
I mean, even then, like, get it to me before I give it to you. Like, that's the only thing I ask. But, so yeah, so those went up closer to 12, so about close to an hour or an hour after, like, the scheduled time. GameStops were up pretty quickly. I didn't write down the time. They forced everybody into a queue, though. It was a really shitty one, too. Like, they must have done this, like, super last minute after the issues they had with, the PS5.
Yeah.
Because, like, their website basically shut itself down like it was being DDoS'd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you went to if you went to GameStop.com while the Xbox was going up, you got a black page with a poor resolution, like, flyer, basically, in the middle of it, with a bunch of text. Like, it was actually fuzzy. It was such, like, poor quality.
Yeah.
That was like, hey, you're in a queue, like, don't reload this page, like, when it's your turn, it'll refresh automatically, blah, 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 blah. No countdown, like, nothing to tell you, like, what place in line you are, just a static image. And I had that open for probably a half hour, 45 minutes, and it finally loaded, but by that point, they were all sold out. I don't know if they were limiting quantity or anything like that, or if it was just once you were in, you could do it. The slightly shitty part was, like, you couldn't actually get to their website otherwise. Like, if you weren't interested in the Xbox and you were just going on to, like, buy something else or do something else, you couldn't.
Yeah.
For, like, the hour and a half that queue thing was up for, because it was up after they sold out, too. You couldn't use their website. Or if you could, but you had to wait in the queue first.
I wonder if it kept you in the queue because you were waiting in the queue, but if you had refreshed after they had sold out, if the queue would have ended.
No, because I tried that in a separate browser, and it still refreshed right to the queue.
Okay.
Microsoft, and just like Sony, Microsoft did their own internal pre-orders. It was not as good as Sony's. Like, there was no invitation thing for it or anything like that. You just went to Microsoft's website, and you could purchase the Xboxes. And you could purchase, like, your all access for it, or like the payment plan options, which GameStop and Best Buy also do. Their site crashed at some point during that.
Nice.
Because even, like, I actually saw Jeff Keighley tweet about it, that he was trying to buy a fucking Xbox, and the fucking Microsoft page was just loading up, like, unavailable. And his tweet was just like, come on, Microsoft, you're killing me.
Yeah.
But, like, let's be real, like, that motherfucker already has an Xbox Series X. He was showing off pictures of it today.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he might not get to keep it, but, like, he has one to, like, do coverage for.
Yeah.
Like, ain't no one worried about Jeff Keighley getting a fucking console.
No.
But yeah, so that, yeah, Microsoft was not much smoother, but at least having the timed stuff seemed to help. Cause it at least gave everybody, like, here's when you should be on your computer. Like, go to your computer, refresh these pages. Like, they didn't all go up at the same time, but at least, like, you knew, I need to be online by, like, 10:45 so I can start refreshing. And I mean, like, I got lucky enough to snag one, you know? And honestly, like, I was looking around, I could have also grabbed one at Best Buy, cause they were available for a little bit longer after that.
Yeah.
I didn't, obviously, but I could have. Also, quick to just jump back to PlayStation, Target, at some point last night, their page changed, and pre-orders became available again.
Okay.
Like, the pre-order now button, I'm actually refreshing it, because I just realized I still had the tab open. Did they change it yet? No, so they still do. Their website on the PlayStation 5 console page has the fucking pre-order now button there, but when you click it, it pops up, item not added to your cart, it is now out of stock.
Huh.
And apparently, so this happened like early this morning, late last night sort of thing, and yeah, like, people thought there were Sony pre-orders, and it just, no one could get them.
Yeah.
So, now this is funny. I think I sent this to you guys, but I don't remember. Amazon saw like 747% increase in the sale of Xbox One X during the pre-order window.
Mm-hmm.
That means a whole bunch of fucking people bought the wrong Xbox.
I wonder how many of those people have realized it, because potentially their system, let's see, that this was what, yesterday it went live? When did it go live?
Yeah.
It went live yesterday. So with Amazon, probably by tomorrow or Friday, they should be getting their console.
Yep.
Like, I wonder how many people have already realized, like, oh fuck, I pre-ordered the wrong thing and have canceled.
Yeah, and so part of this, like we've discussed before, bad naming, like, I get they're trying to do a thing, but, like, come the fuck on, guys.
Yeah.
Part of this was also Amazon was being very cagey with the pre-order links, so they kept taking them down and then putting them back up under different URLs. So, like, they had, like, their Xbox landing page that you could go to, and a couple times they actually took that down and then put it back up. But that didn't give you a way to get to the actual listing for the X and the S.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just went to Amazon and searched Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, you'd get, like, the list of things. The very top option would say, like, unavailable, and that was the actual Series X. But then right below that was the One X. So, like, if you just clicked on the wrong thing, and especially if, like, you weren't 100% sure and, like, you were buying this as, like, a gift or something, like, I get it. And it's a similar price.
Yeah.
So, it's a black box, it's a similar price. It's an easy fucking mistake to do when Amazon's, like, search for that stuff was pretty shitty yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the only reason I was even on their page, like, when it went up, was because of Wario64. Like, he kept tweeting out, in a chain he had with the direct links to all of the different, retailers' pages, and every time Amazon changed it, and he found the new one, he would tweet out the link again.
Yeah.
So, like, I had just happened to open that link maybe, like, 10 minutes prior to them going live, and then refreshed it when it, like, he hadn't tweeted yet that it was live by the time I had refreshed the page. Like, I refreshed and clicked purchase right after, or right before I saw his tweet come out that it was live on Amazon.
Okay.
So, other fun little tidbit I've been hearing, and this is not fun at all, I've seen a bunch of people talking about their shit got canceled by their bank or credit cards.
That's nuts. Like,
yeah, so, like, the bank saw a $500 purchase from, like, Amazon or Best Buy and canceled it, and, like, they would get, like, the text message or the phone call asking if this was a legitimate call or a legitimate purchase, like, respond yes and then try again. But you can't fucking try again.
Yeah, because that's like, that would had to have been from, like, Walmart and Target. I don't know how Target does their pre-orders, but Best Buy, Amazon, they don't take it out until after it ships or after you pick it up. Like, the money for 3D All-Stars didn't get taken out until I picked it up. So it would had to have been something from Walmart and Target. Like, you just made this... Or GameStop. Like, what are they buying? $500 at GameStop, Target, or Walmart? No, but like... Why would the bank cancel it and not call and just be like, hey, was this you? If not, let's cancel it type of thing.
So that's how the bank's fraud departments work now. I don't know if you maybe have never dealt with this, but yeah, if there is any sort of big purchase on a card and it seems even remotely suspicious,
abnormal,
they immediately decline it and then send you a message. Like, if you have, like, text message alerts set up with them, they will send you a text message that you can actually just respond to and be like, yes or no, and then they will, like, unflag it so that you can retry that purchase.
That's,
it's been like that for a long time. I used to get it, so that the text messages haven't been around for long. But, like, when I was at GameStop, and that was, like, 15 years ago almost, occasionally people would come in and they would be purchasing, like, you know, a PS3 and a bunch of games and controllers and like shit that added up to like $500, $600, $700.
Yeah.
And their card would get declined, and then they would get a call from the bank, and they'd answer it, and they'd be like, "No, this was a real purchase." Like, and then we'd have to like go through the whole process again, and it would usually go through.
Yeah, that's just like I knew banks did that. Like, I've been thinking about just paying off my student loans early. That's like close to $4,000, close to $4,000. So like, I'm like, I know I have to call my bank when I make this payment. But like, $400 or $500, I never thought that would be like, I don't know. I guess if you don't always pay that money, but yeah, I've never had anyone call and be like, hey, was this an actual legit purchase? But I guess my bank knows that I buy video games.
Yeah, or you've just never purchased that high of a thing for them to flag it.
I mean, I bought a Switch.
That's $300.
No, the PS5 I got at GameStop, or PS4 I got at GameStop, and I think the Xbox One I also got at GameStop. So yeah, I don't know.
Like I don't know if it's that's the thing. Like I honestly don't know what their flagging system is, and I mean, like, every bank and credit card is different about that stuff too. But yeah, like, that sucks because like there are people that like got their pre-order and then immediately fucking lost their pre-order.
Yeah, that's insane.
But yeah, so that was the fiasco of trying to pre-order stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I think I don't think I put this in our group chat. I think I might have just told you, Rich.
Yeah.
I tested out the Xbox, game streaming, which is what xCloud is now called.
Yeah.
Cause I have it while I have the Game Pass subscription for Tell Me Why. It is super fucking cool. Like, it actually works really, really well. So I played Untitled Goose Game, Halo 2, and Battletoads so far.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing it enough that I actually purchased one of those $10 like grip things that like stick onto your Xbox controller so you can put your phone in it.
Okay.
Not the really, like, they have a newer one that's just coming out. It's from Razer that actually makes your phone just look like a fucking Switch. Like, It actually, like, the controllers like go onto the side of the phone like two Joy-Cons. It's actually kind of neat, but they range from $80 to $100, which is just too fucking much.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I have one of those things where it's like literally just like a clamp that goes on the back of the controller, and then it's adjustable, and you can put the phone in it and sort of like tilt it to like the viewing angle you want.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, your Xbox controller pairs right to the phone, no issues at all. You just hit the little sync button on the top, and then look at your Bluetooth settings on your phone, and it's right there.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of input lag in like the menu. But when I got into the games, everything actually was pretty good. Like, I didn't notice any input lag.
Yeah.
There was definitely artifacting. Like, and especially in Halo and Battletoads, if I was moving a lot, things would blur a little bit, and then it would almost have like a progressive scan would like very quickly shoot across the screen, and like clear everything up when I stopped. It was a little weird, but it was nothing that like ruined the experience. And like Halo played really fucking well.
Yeah.
Like, it picked up, and because it's Xbox and everything is just fucking synced to Azure, it immediately picked up my save. So my game started right where I had last played it.
Mm-hmm.
I ran around for probably 20 minutes in there. I was just kind of messing around. Like, I wasn't doing anything crazy because I didn't want to like progress in the game. I just wanted to test it out. But yeah, that alone is almost worth the cost of Game Pass if you're in a situation where like maybe you travel a lot. Like, which right now no one's traveling a lot. But if you're the type of person where like you just happen to be on the road a lot and you can just drop an Xbox controller into your bag and either you don't have a data limit on your phone or you can regularly connect to stable Wi-Fi, like that's a good way to play games. And it works on tablets and stuff too. Like I have the app on my tablet. I haven't really done it yet, but I did hit play on a game and it started to load the game. So like, and I have a 10-inch tablet, so it's not huge, but it's a decent sized screen.
Yeah, the streaming stuff, the streaming gaming, I haven't really done a lot of research on, but I don't think there's a lot of complaints about it. It is absolutely cool that they're doing this and very interesting, and like, which is why I also like understand they're making the Series S weaker, because like that's kind of what they're pushing with that is the streaming.
You can't stream on the console though.
Are you sure?
Right now, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So right now you can't, but it's also still in beta. They're still working.
No,
it's
out of beta now. It's released.
Okay.
I think it is at least. I'm like 90% sure it's actually released now.
As of last week, it was in beta.
Okay, maybe what I read was wrong then. I could have sworn I read something that it was actually out of beta. But yeah, I don't think that they have not announced that you will be able to stream content from like to the consoles yet that I've seen. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, the S is weaker. Maybe that's a thing they're going to do, but it's not going to be for a little while.
So the Xbox.com, if you look up Game Pass Ultimate and you scroll down to Explore Cloud Gaming, it's Explore Cloud Gaming Beta.
Okay, so yeah, so I guess what I read was wrong. Maybe it's beta, but now anyone with Game Pass can do it.
Yeah, maybe. I'm looking through the cloud gaming real quick to see if it says anything else, but it doesn't. It just shows that you can play it on PC and on your phone mostly.
And actually, I didn't realize you could do the streaming on PC. Mm-hmm. That's actually kind of cool. Yeah, that's similar to Stadia. Yeah. Only like my problem with Stadia worked pretty well. My problem with Stadia was you had to buy the game at full price.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like if you wanted to play a game on Stadia, you have to buy the game on Stadia, which is fine. Like it's a platform, I get that. But like their subscription thing isn't as robust as Games Pass, where I can look at Game Pass and I can see a ton of games that I'd be willing to play streaming.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to drop $60 or $70 on a game for Stadia and then have Google decide in 2 years that they don't fucking want to do this anymore.
Yeah, they don't want to support it, so you're not going to ever be able to play it ever again. And it's like, well, fuck you then.
Yeah, and like Stadia has their whole subscription service that is more like a PS Plus Xbox Live thing, where like there's like 1 or 2 games free a month, I think is how they work it. But it's not Game Pass, where it's like, oh yeah, there's like 1,000 fucking games I can just hop onto and play on my phone whenever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the game streaming stuff is super cool. Like all for it. At least from how Microsoft's doing it, no complaints.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So Nintendo Partner Direct was that last Thursday that happened?
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
Can't remember. It was one of those days.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you deal with these first two because Drew and I don't care. There were 2 Monster Hunter things announced.
Yeah. So they announced, which was honestly a surprise to everyone, the lesser of 2, Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is just their sequel to their turn-based RPG Monster Hunter game. That is a story-based game. Like, it is nowhere near the Monster Hunter formula. It's just the Monster Hunter monsters with characters in this world. It's not even the same world. I don't think, at least. I've never played the first one. The original was on 3DS. Apparently, it's like a really high-selling 3DS game, or at least right now, because no one's buying 3DS games. But that comes out next summer. But they also announced before that Monster Hunter Rise, which, from doing a little bit of research, because I was hearing different things, it apparently is the next core title in the Monster Hunter games. So the team at Capcom that work on Monster Hunter, there's 3 teams. the Stories team, the Rise team, and the World team. So, like, this is their third team, which this is usually, like, the director of these games is usually the one who creates the ultimate versions. So, like, the second releases that have, like, a little bit extra and was ported to whatever system. This one, it's just straight up, like, he directed this full game. It runs off the Resident Evil engine. It looks really cool. You get a fucking dog this time. I'm pretty excited about it.
And this is only on Switch, right?
It's only releasing on Switch. So, this team, the last game they made or released was, Monster Hunter, it was, Double Cross in Japan, Generations Ultimate in the United States. That released, on the August 2018 worldwide. So they've basically been working on this game since probably a little before then because it came out in Japan like a year prior. And that one came out just on Switch. This team is generally the team that works on games that just release on the handheld consoles. So like, the Monster Hunter World team, I'm sure they're probably working on a new game now because they're still releasing content updates through next month, I believe. I think it ends in October or November. And then they'll probably start working on the new World stuff moving forward. So, like, I'm pretty excited to at least have something to tie me over, and that's on the Switch. This will be the first time I buy a Pro Controller, though.
Oh, you're going to get a Pro Controller to play?
I'm thinking about it. I don't really know how comfortable it's going to be playing Monster Hunter with the Joy-Con grip. So I'm thinking about getting a Pro Controller.
Look, that Pro Controller is very nice.
Yeah, like, I've used it before, and I've never had an issue with it, but, like, I also, like I said, I don't have really an issue with the Joy-Cons, but it's like, with the Joy-Con drift issue on now, I think I have some sort of issue on every one of my Joy-Cons, except for the one I fixed, where, like, the A button doesn't work or this, like, I'm like, I need a new controller in general, and for a game like Monster Hunter that is so, like, time sensitive, like, I need to make sure what I'm hitting hits at that time, and not, like, I press A, but it skips it because my controller didn't register. I'd probably just get a new controller come that time. At least a Pro Controller, if not just a new set of Joy-Cons. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. But I'm pretty excited. I'm interested to see how the sales for this will compare to the sales for World and Iceborne.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, like, I'm not gonna, like, I mean, we all know, like, I'm not playing either of these. Mm-hmm. Stories is probably the closest thing to interest I would ever have in a Monster Hunter, though.
Probably. It's a turn-based RPG. It doesn't have that Monster Hunter formula, as far as I know. Doesn't have the Monster Hunter formula of go out, kill the monster a million times to get the pieces you need, come back and make the armor. It's just you play through the game. And you have a pet Rathalos or Rathian, I can't remember which one.
Well, it from what I've read, you also fight alongside the monsters, almost like a Pokemon.
I don't think it might be. I'm not sure. I know the main character has a Rathalos, which is one of the bigger monsters. I don't know if it's just you and him, or if it's like he's commanding the Rathalos. I've never played them. Not that I'm not interested in them, but it's like I just didn't really care to play an RPG like that on the 3DS.
Yeah, like the little bit that I saw about it, and I didn't watch the direct, so I didn't actually see the trailer. But like the fact that it has an actual narrative, and the combat is turn-based and not the combat that I dislike about the game. I'm like, oh yeah, like if I was going to play a Monster Hunter, it would totally be a stories game, because even if you have to grind a whole bunch, like I don't mind turn-based combat. I don't want to grind Monster Hunter combat. Yeah.
But from these announcements, I found a new game that I can play while I'm perusing Facebook and stuff. It's called Find the Person Whose First Game Was Monster Hunter World. And I found that person right away. They announced a monster, and it was like, here's a new monster that's going to be in Monster Hunter Rise. And a person, like, just goes in freaking out. Yeah, I'm just going to wait for Monster Hunter World 2 because this is the same exact model and blah, blah, blah of this and that monster. And everyone on the thread, like, commented, actually, this is just, like, this monster from Monster Hunter Generations, that, like, obviously you're new to the Monster Hunter realm, because that's generally what they do, is take the skeleton of monsters and just make new monsters out of them. But like it made me laugh, and I was like, well, that's a new game I can play for all these announcements until the game comes out.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
So I kind of spaced for a second there. In case you didn't say it, Rise is scheduled for March 21st, 2021, and Stories 2 is summer 2021.
Which, that also kind of sits aligned with their recent release schedules with, like, World and stuff, where World came out in January, and then, Generations Ultimate broke the mold with, I guess you could say broke the mold with being released worldwide in August of that same year. But, like, it was January, and then Iceborne wasn't until November of the following year. So, and it kind of makes sense. It's like March this year, and then if they have an expansion or something, maybe November the following year. So, we might get a Monster Hunter World 2, whatever they're going to call that, 2022, 2023. Is what we're suspecting. We don't know for sure, though.
Iceborne was September, not November.
I wrote 11/19, but...
Well, you're...
yeah. It was
way to fuck up the release date.
It's a typo. But there are also, like, consistent content updates like they did with Monster Hunter World. So, like, every couple of months, free content updates, free creatures and whatnot.
That's the first time they've been able to do that, right?
Yes and no. Like, they did it with the other games, but they didn't often send new monsters, just variant monsters. But they always gave us new armors based on event quests.
So, I guess I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. So, most of the previous, like, recent games were Nintendo handhelds, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It was Monster Hunter Tri was Wii, and then Tri Ultimate, I believe, was handheld, and then 4 Ultimate, Generations Ultimate. Generations were all 3DS, and then Generations Ultimate was 3DS and Switch.
Okay. Yeah, because I know up until the Switch, Nintendo consoles were not great at were either not able to or not great at getting DLC. Like the Wii couldn't get DLC at all. That's why there's a game, I forget what game it is, maybe Metroid Other M, that had such a game-breaking bug in it, you had to send a memory card to Nintendo to get it fixed because they couldn't patch it out of the game.
Probably Skyward Sword. It might have been Other M, but I know definitely Skyward Sword had a game-breaking glitch, and if you did things just right, when you get 40 hours into the game, you can't beat it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
But wait, was Skyward Sword? Oh yeah, Skyward Sword was just regular ass Wii.
Mm-hmm.
But like for World being on PS4 mid-generation when like everything had DLC and like the consoles were kind of built for that, I just feel like they definitely had. That was their first chance to be like, hey, we can just support this same game for multiple years and not have it be a hassle on anybody.
And that's basically what they did. So the previous versions, like, for instance, Generations and Generations Ultimate, they both started off on the 3DS, and then it eventually was ported to Switch as well. They would get event quests sent in, and it was generally the same monsters, but they would give new, different-looking armor for doing the event quests. Like, Monster Hunter World, yes, is the first time they, like, every 3 months, a new creature that, like something that didn't have a pre-made skeleton or wasn't a variant was thrown in. That's, like, the first time they did that. But they always had sort of content updates throughout the games. But, like, World was the first time it was, like, as big as it was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just to round out that direct real quick, they announced Hades is out on Switch, which, I forget if we were talking about that before we recorded or after, but, it's a new game from, Supergiant. The guys that did Bastion and Transistor.
I think they also talked about it at the last,
Partner Direct.
Partner Direct as well.
They may have. The big thing here is it came out on Switch. It has been in early access on PC for at least a year, I think, too. Drew, do you know for sure?
How long it's been on PC?
Yeah, in early access.
I'm not positive, but I want to say it's probably close.
Yeah, so it's been in early access for a while now. But now it's available, and Switch is the first non-PC platform that it's on.
Mm-hmm.
They also announced Disgaea 6: Defiance of Destiny for summer 2021.
I didn't realize Disgaea had 6 6 games. Like,
Yeah,
I
neither
know.
did I.
I've played Disgaea 1 because that's been released like 7 different times. I've played that a handful of times, but I've never played any of the others.
Same. Like, I've actually never played any of them. I think I own the first one.
I think a lot of us did, so you probably do too.
Yeah, I think I got it on PS2, like, when I worked at GameStop. And it was one of those, like, I got it, like, used, it was super cheap, and I meant to play it and just never got to it.
Yeah.
And then they announced Ori and the Will of the Wisp is out now, also.
Yep.
So you can get that on the Wii if you've played Ori and the Blind Forest. I just said on the Wii, on the Switch.
Yeah.
So I accidentally capitalized the I in Will, so it almost looks like Wii.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, that's the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. Blind Forest was really good. I'm sure Will of the Wisp is also really good.
The thing I find funny about this Direct was they start off with the Monster Hunter information, and then at the end of giving the Monster Hunter information, it's like, by the way, we're having a Monster Hunter Direct immediately after this one.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
It's like, okay, why didn't you, like, end with Monster Hunter and be like, stay tuned for more? Like,
I mean, that would have made more sense, but at the same time, like, honestly, as much as I might not like it, Monster Hunter was definitely the 2 biggest things they had to announce.
It definitely was. There's a lot of people excited for it, a good number of people, like, complaining that, like, they're, quote, backstepping, not realizing that this is a different team that's been working on this game since 2018 for this system. Like, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's everything that was shown at the Direct, I believe. Today, though, I think somebody posted this on 4chan. I saw it going around Twitter and Facebook. There was a leaked, quote unquote, memo for an October 8th Nintendo Direct. The whole thing looks fake. There are too many big things on here, for any of this to be fucking real. But some of the things would be pretty cool. So it says WarioWare Switch It Up is going to be revealed for summer 2021. That the Pokemon Sword and Shield Crown Tundra DLC will release on November 27th.
Yeah.
Which actually that doesn't seem impossible. That it seems a little late, but that's still fall, and they said fall. So
yeah.
Just that they would be showing something for the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury that they already revealed. That they'd be revealing Kirby Power Rumble, and that it would be available after the Direct. That Dragon Quest Anthology was going to come out on December 4th. That Fall Guys was going to come out on Switch, and it would be available after the Direct.
Yeah. That
Game Boy games were going to come to the Switch Online, and would be available after the Direct. That GTA 3 was going to come to the Switch on November 4th. That Persona 5 Scramble would be releasing January 8th, 2021.
Yeah.
That Super Smash Bros. Ultimate would have a Challenger Pack 7 reveal for Crash Bandicoot that would be available after the Direct, following a demo from Sakurai, like he has done many other times.
Yeah.
That Super Mario 3D All-Stars would be getting Super Mario Galaxy 2 DLC on December 18th, and that the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild trailer would be, or sequel is going to be Legend of Zelda Breath of Evil teaser trailer for 2021.
So looking through this list, I like a lot of the ideas. The thing that makes me think this is probably most definitely fake is the Crash Bandicoot and Smash Bros.
Yep. And I mean, aside from the fact that Sakurai has said he doesn't want non-Japanese, non-game characters, so like Crash is a game character, but Naughty Dog's an American developer.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any other characters in Smash Brothers from an American company.
No, probably not.
So
like that's that right there. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's definitely fake. Because why would Sony let them do that?
Well, Sony doesn't own Crash. Activision does.
Yeah.
I thought.
Nope. Not for like 20 years.
Yeah, Sony sold Crash after Crash Team Racing, like the original Crash Team Racing. Yeah, so it was basically Naughty Dog did Crash 1 through 3 and Racing, and then Sony sold the license to Activision along with Spyro. And that's when we got all of those really shitty Crash Bandicoot games. Yeah. Like Mind Over Mutant and shit like that. And the Spyro games were good for a little while. Maybe Year of the Dragon? I forget. There was like a trilogy of them that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But then it went to Skylanders and everything fucking died.
I would be pretty happy if they did do the Mario Galaxy 2 DLC, but at the same time, I'd be so pissed. Like, why didn't you just fucking put it on the cart?
Yeah.
Like, because I just paid $60 for games that you barely did anything to, and now you're gonna make me pay another however much?
Probably $40 because it's fucking Nintendo.
Yeah, for another game that you're gonna probably do nothing to. Like, I would be happy to see that, but at the same time, just be like, fuck you guys. You could have just put it on the cart.
Yeah. Like, I think a WarioWare game would be neat. The Fall Guys on Switch is also a cool idea. Same thing, like, the Game Boy games coming to Switch Online, like,
yeah.
It's whatever. Like, there's like 4 good fucking Game Boy games that they would put on that thing. And even then, like, they might not put those 4 Game Boy games on that thing.
No.
I mean, one of them is Tetris, and there's already a way better Tetris product.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They have the single-player mode in Tetris 99 now that you could purchase. So
yeah.
You're not going to get Tetris on there. You're going to get probably Mario Land 2, Wario Land, and that's it. Like, you're not going to get Pokemon. You're not going to get, like, the Final Fantasy Legends or the Dragon Quest Warriors or anything like that. Like, yeah, like, that's... I don't need Game Boy games. Give me fucking Nintendo 64 or something if you're going to put a new console on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like Persona 5 Scramble is a Musou game, so, like, people are somewhat interested in that, but also, like, I don't give a fuck.
And I don't even need N64 games. Give me GBA games. There's
I would take some of the Game Boy Advance catalog.
So many good GBA games.
Like, fucking, Mega Man Battle Network games were actually pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also had fucking Metroid Fusion is a Nintendo property. Like, that was a wonderful fucking Metroid game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that thing, super fake, but still a lot of cool stuff on there.
We'll have to wait and see if anything comes out on October 18th or October 8th. 8th.
I might put a little reminder in my phone for October 8th. Be like, hey, is there a Nintendo Direct happening this day? So Rich, you and I both picked up Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Yes. I'm happy with the purchase. I've only been playing Sunshine because that's the game that I've been like I said multiple times on this podcast. I owned that game like 3 or 4 times. Like, I bought it, beat it, traded it in, and then bought something else, and then was like, I want to play that again, and bought it, beat it, traded it in. Like, I absolutely love Sunshine, and I jumped into that first thing. I was like, fuck 64, I'll get back to you, Galaxy. I want Sunshine.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought Sunshine would be the game that aged the worst out of the 3.
Mm-mm.
Galaxy definitely is.
Is it?
It has motion controls.
Oh yeah, true.
So
the problem with that isn't the fact that, like, it has motion control, so it's that the motion for the Wii U or for the Switch is a lot different than the motion was for the GameCube, so it's not as smooth and clear.
Yeah, but I mean, and also you mean the Wii?
Well, the motion.
You said the GameCube.
The motion, yeah, that's what I meant. The motion for the Wii was better because they had the dedicated sensor and motion sensor and everything. That, like, for the Switch, like, where it's just the IR thing, it's not as good. So I'm sure it is kind of a pain in the butt. But at the same time, the motion was just to grab the star shards.
So it's to grab them and to shoot them?
Yeah, you don't need to shoot them though.
So, I mean, you don't 100% need to. There are certain things that you do actually have to shoot them for, though. Like, in the first world, and look, this is not a deal breaker. This is not a huge deal. I'm just pointing this out. The piranha plant boss you fight, much easier to fight when you can point and shoot him with the star bits so that you can get behind him. Because otherwise, he is very quick to be on your tail.
Okay.
And he's one of those bosses where you have to, like, hit him from behind.
Yeah.
Also, there is, in that same world, one of the, I already forget their names, the little star dudes. That you have to feed. And you feed him by pointing your thing at him hitting the button until you fed him 100.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure that it takes some, like, getting used to, but you'll eventually be fine with it.
Well, so there's 2 things. If you're playing in handheld, it's not motion controls. You actually just tap the screen, which is both good and bad.
Yeah.
Because you can't tap the screen and also, like, jump, which is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But it's great for like other stuff because you don't actually have to like move your switcher around to do stuff. But even in the menus, all the menus are fucking motion controls if you're playing on the TV.
Is it?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
so that's the biggest problem. Like, Galaxy is still fun, but like those motion controls, they weren't good in 2008. They're still not good.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't play with the Joy-Cons. They're too fucking tiny. I play with the Pro Controller. The Pro Controller, you still have to fucking move around for motion controls.
Yeah.
Which feels very bad. Because it's not like you can, like, if I just had a Wiimote and a nunchuck, it would feel way less bad. Because, like, the Wiimote was big, like, it fit in your hand well, like...
The Wiimote was made to point at the system, whereas the Pro Controller isn't.
Exactly.
And like,
so,
even with, like, the Joy-Cons, it's, like, they're smaller, so they're easier to point at the system, but they're not... The button placement on them... Well, no, the button placement's gonna basically be the same. But, like, they're just it's not gonna feel as comfortable, I guess, I'm sure.
Exactly. And it's just, yeah, it's not great. Like, the game is still fun, but the biggest problem with these games is they did nothing to them. Like, there is nothing done to these games at all.
Yeah.
So, like, just having options for controls. That's all I'm saying. Let people go in and just say, I don't want motion controls on at all. Like, let me just turn them the fuck off.
Yes, but then, like, how are you gonna do things?
So you don't need every button on the Switch controller. Let me hit the fucking right or left bumper to bring up like the little star thing and use the right analog stick to aim those while I'm running around as Mario.
I mean, sure, but then you're losing the ability to like move the camera around and stuff and look around.
But like the camera movements, so Sunshine has the best camera movement, as weird as that is. Galaxy and 64 are both very bad with that. Galaxy, because of the way the game kind of rotates around you, you're very limited in when and how you can move it.
That's right. The Wii U or the Wii didn't only had one stick, and then it had the D-pad. So
so the right analog stick is borderline useless a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. So being able to use that to control the star bits, I'd be fine with that. Especially if it was like if they took like a little bit of liberty from like a third person shooter, like where like, you know, one trigger fucking pulls the gun up, the other trigger fires it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that fucking hard. But they put no effort into this. Like, people already found out, like, they're ROMs. Like, it's just emulation. Yeah. They didn't fucking do anything. They took ROMs that somebody else probably made again, because that's what they did with all their other releases, and just fucking put them on a cartridge for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've probably played the most Sunshine, too, actually.
The one thing I wish I could do, especially with Sunshine, is play using my GameCube controllers.
Actually, yeah, I would probably buy the GameCube controller adapter to play Sunshine with a GameCube controller so that it felt a little more natural.
The one thing that I love about the GameCube controller is that it had that, like, the cornered area for the D-stick. And there are a lot of space... Or the control stick, yeah. Not just the C-stick. Both sticks had the cornered area.
Yeah.
Oh, right. They were kind of like in that like weird little middle, like those little nubs came off of it.
Yeah, so like it would kind of snap up or snap to the side. Like you could go like a little less diagonally, but like it snapped to a diagonal. It was I guess septagonal. That's 6.
No, I'm pretty sure it's got.
It was up, down, left, right, and then the 4 diagonals. It was 8.
So 8. Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, that made that game so much easier because, like, it would snap to that angle, whereas, like, I don't have steady hands or steady fingers at that. Somehow I haven't cut my fingers off when cooking magically. But, like, there are parts in Sunshine where you have to be very delicate with your placement of Mario and running, because you're running on sand and it's falling underneath you, that, like, if you're a little off to the side and, like... These controls are super sensitive to where just barely tapping it, he goes like 6 feet ahead of him. Like having that little snap would make it so much easier.
Yeah, like the game controls better than Galaxy, but like it really doesn't control great on the Switch, which is why I was saying like they didn't do anything to these games to make them play better on like with this hardware. No, like they might run fine, but they don't play right.
Yeah. Like it sucks that they it is. They're just ports. They're like, here you go. You guys want these? Here, have them. Somebody else did it.
No, that's the problem. They're not ports. They're fucking ROMs.
That's what I mean. They're like, somebody else made this ROM. This seems to work. Sure, here you go. And it's like, come on, guys. I spent $60 on this. If the rumors are true that you're going to give me Galaxy 2 for fucking DLC, fuck you guys. I'm upset that I opened my copy to play this because I could have just kept it sitting up on a shelf and maybe eventually be able to sell it for a little bit more money.
No, because I sent you
the millions of copies of that.
Sold. The 25th anniversary of that is worth less than it was when it was released.
Like, just because it's going to stop being sold in 6 months doesn't mean they're not going to print fucking 4 million copies of that, or probably more likely like 40 million copies.
That said, I think sentimentality, if you just wanted to have it on your shelf, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at this point, that's like, I love playing Sunshine. That's all I've been playing recently. Like, I barely played even Avengers since I got this, but like, I once I'm done Sunshine, if I'm uncomfortable playing Galaxy, it's gonna go into its case and it's gonna be up on the shelf. Like, yeah, I don't really have much nostalgia for 64. That, like, I don't really, not that I don't care, but I don't care. It also came out the 2 other times.
So, Mario 64 actually plays pretty well. It doesn't look good, like, by any imagination. And like, its biggest problem is the camera. But, like, that camera was also bad in 1996 because it's Lakitu, and he is filming you the whole time, so you literally can't move the camera all the way.
Well, that's the problem with at least that and Sunshine is the camera, like, it's not shown in Sunshine, but the camera is basically a set thing. To where if you're trying to move it around a building, it doesn't just phase through the building. It locks right next to the building. You can't move it.
Yeah. No, but so this isn't so much that it won't phase through the building. This is, you can literally only move the camera so far in either direction. Mm-hmm. Like, it won't loop around you. So if you're trying to, like, angle something and you move the camera to the right and the camera can't quite go far enough, you then have to move the camera all the way back to the left to get it into that position.
Yeah.
But, like, the game, like, that game plays well because really that game plays fine 85% of the time if you just keep the camera behind Mario.
Yeah.
There's only a few times where you kind of need to, like, move it around to get, like, a different angle on things. But, like, I have enough stars in that to go do, the first Bowser, but, I was kind of like I was playing through those levels on the first floor, kind of like remembering them.
Yeah.
But yeah, as much as Galaxy is a good game, it aged so bad. Like, and like Sunshine, other than, and again, like, I wish there were control things you could do. My biggest problem with Sunshine is I can't get my brain to function for the controls. Like, the left analog stick is not meant to aim, and I can't fucking do it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I have not ran into too many issues with that. Like, I've gotten used to it quickly. As you can probably tell based on all the, like, I get used to control schemes pretty easily. That, like when I also don't use the heavy flow often, if at all. Like, it's not something that you really necessarily need.
I have to use it all the time to aim.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of, like, full-on gameplay instances where, like, you absolutely need it, but also, I even told you, you hold L, and he does a strafe. And the strafe
but that strafe doesn't let you aim up and down with the right analog stick.
No,
you still use the left analog stick. That's what throws me off.
I got used to it almost immediately. Like,
yeah, I have not. Like, yeah. My brain does not want to use the left analog stick to aim. Like, it's just, like, I'm making my way around the game. Like, it's not like making it so I can't complete stuff, but like, everything takes me a few extra tries because, like, my brain just does not want to fucking aim with that side of my body at all.
Maybe you need to fix your brain.
Probably.
Or get a good brain.
Or maybe they could have just given fucking options. Any options at all. Like, games are so, like, so many publishers are great about accessibility. This game has zero accessibility for anybody who can't just play it exactly as it was released.
Yeah.
And, like, that sucks. But yeah, I I use the R1 thing all the fucking time, especially like on like bosses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like how do you hit them? Do you just use the strafe thing?
I use the strafe because you can, if you use the heavy flow, the R and not ZR, he can't move. You just aim left and right and side to side. Or like if you use the strafe button, which is I believe is L or maybe ZL, I can't remember.
I think it's ZL.
You can aim up and then move side to side, so this way you can avoid and dodge enemies. Like once you get that aim and you're holding on to the strafe button, you don't have to like aim anymore. You just strafe side to side. Get used to that, and it'll make the game so much easier, and you won't be like
I've tried using that. I don't like that. Like that actually, like I end up getting more damage when I'm doing that because I'm moving too much. But also, like you said before, you have a ton of nostalgia for Mario Sunshine. You've played it multiple times.
Yeah.
I barely played any of it. I didn't like it in 2002. It was not fun. Like I actually have zero nostalgia for Sunshine compared to Mario 64 or Galaxy. So this is basically my first time playing Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, it's like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Like I'm not used to playing a game this way.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I agree that the controls didn't age well, but I just...
Well, but like I said, like the Sunshine controls are probably the best in the game. Yeah, like Mario 64 doesn't really have controls, but like between the two more modern ones that actually have like some new systems to it,
yeah,
like, Sunshine actually probably controls the best. Like other than those secret, like the secret courses where you don't have FLUDD, those things are fucking bullshit.
Well, that's where I'm talking about having the GameCube controller where it has the
that would make things so much better.
Right? Like there was one I did. A few tips that you need to know about those levels. Number one, there is always at least 2 or 3 1-ups throughout the level. One of them is hidden.
Yeah, no, I know that.
So if you can always find the hidden 1-up, because it's usually near the beginning, no matter how many times you die, you're not losing lives.
So I should point out to you, I watched a full playthrough of Mario Sunshine where they collected every single shine.
Why?
Because it was fucking hilarious.
Oh boy.
They made a gambling game out of it. Drew, you watched Steal My Sunshine, right?
Oh yeah, I watched all of that.
Yeah, so they literally made a game out of it where they had a gumball machine filled with yellow gumballs, and every time somebody got a shine, they got a gumball. And it was like, there was like a blue and a red gumball too, and if you got that, like, bad shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically like, you played until you died, like until you got a game over, or until you got a shine. And if you got a shine, you passed it to the next person. It kind of just went round robin. But the stipulation was they had to get all of the shines in the game. And they did.
Okay.
So, like, I've actually seen... So that's the only reason I'm making it through the levels a little quicker without, like, stumbling too much, other than, like, with the controls, is I've actually seen every level. So, like, I'm recognizing things, I just don't have the experience doing them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, it's like when I fought PD Piranha the second time, I just had trouble because of the controls, like, kind of getting him set up correctly for it. But, like, once I got a pattern for it, it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I just, every time, just complete muscle memory, I hit the R1 button, and then I hit the fucking right analog stick, because I fucking want to aim with that.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about those games, though?
Nah, I'm happy with my purchase.
I'm not upset with my purchase.
Yeah.
I just wish they would have done better.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Do better, Nintendo. Be better. So, Michel Ancel, leaving video games.
I'm gonna be honest, no idea who that is.
He is the guy responsible for Beyond Good and Evil.
Okay.
And specifically Beyond Good and Evil 2. He's also, I believe, the creator of Rayman.
Correct.
And then he was also one of the people working on that game Wild that was revealed in, let's say, 2014, and has not been seen since.
He was the, like, creative director for that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that wasn't a Ubisoft game, right? That was his own studio?
I believe so. Like, I'm pretty sure that game was, like, titled Michel Ancel's Wild or something.
It may have been. But yeah, so he made a lot of games that people have very fond memories for. And the 2 games that he has been working on for years have basically been in development hell. Like, I think we've seen Beyond Good and Evil twice in, 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
he came out on stage at E3 the year they revealed it.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. But yeah, he is leaving video games. He's going to go run a wildlife refuge, which is actually pretty fucking cool.
Okay.
Yeah, like, that's cool. Apparently, he has not been involved in the Wild or Beyond Good and Evil 2 in months.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said, like, he was in development with Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Rayman, that explains why I have no idea who he is, because I was not a big Rayman fan. And Beyond Good and Evil 2, we obviously haven't gotten, because...
Yeah.
I liked the first one.
So he made the first one.
I played that on the GameCube forever ago, so...
Yeah, I'm sorry if I did not make that clear, but yeah, he actually, he was the guy behind the original Beyond Good and Evil, and is in charge of this Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah.
Or the sequel, I should say, but not anymore. Those teams are just working on those games without him. There'll be new creative directors in place and all that fun stuff. I wonder if that's good for these games or bad, because they have just been... They're the definition of games announced way too soon. Like,
Yep.
Do you think we see more of these and they actually come out this decade? Or...
Wild, I don't know.
Because, like, Wild was revealed, like, year one of the PS4. Like, that game's not going to look good if it comes out now.
Yeah.
Let alone if it comes out on the next gen consoles. It's going to look like a remaster of an early PS4 game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Beyond Good and Evil, who fucking knows? I honestly don't think that game will ever come out.
No, it's in purgatory like Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say it has the better chance than Wild, but that's not saying a whole lot.
And Half-Life 3 has a better chance than both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Beyond Good and Evil 2 at least had a trailer. There was that monkey and the pig, I think.
Yeah, there was definitely a pig.
I think there was a monkey too. I'm pretty sure there was like an intelligent doctor space monkey.
I don't remember a monkey.
It was like 2 years ago at this point. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that is wild.
Hey.
Yeah. Rich, you mentioned earlier there was an Avengers update?
Yes, it is their largest update yet, addressed over 1,000 issues.
Oh, I did see a tweet about this. I forgot about that.
It's version 1.3.0. One of their biggest fixes they did was they made a universal time for dailies and weeklies. So it's like all dailies, both faction-based and player-based, are now resetting at midnight, or at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and no longer midnight or 1 o'clock. And I'm joking with saying that's the biggest fix. They've fixed a boatload, they fixed matchmaking, I believe they added a game mode, kind of. So I made it to the end of the Scientist Supreme storyline, which is like the quest you do at the end of the game. And the final objective you have to do, is called, a hero something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's single player only, and it's basically a round robin. You go in with a player. Once that player dies, the next player jumps in, and you only do it one hero at a time, and you have to make it through like however many floors with just that one hero. Or once that player dies, the next hero comes in, and you have to continue going on. So they added like an epic version, which is like a harder version of that game mode, that I haven't gotten into yet because I didn't know that the final mission I was going to have to do was a single player only mission, so I only powered up Hulk. So now I have to go back and power up all the rest of my heroes. But yeah, I just wanted to just throw it out there that like they released their biggest patch update yet, and the game's been out for less than a month.
Yeah, that's crazy. 1,000 issues were fixed.
Yeah, that's according to Square Enix site, like addressed over 1,000 issues. That like they've been very active. Like Square Enix has been very active on the Reddit, like letting people know like this is in the works, that's in the works. We hear you. We see that there's this issue. We're working on it. This might be fixed at this point, but we're definitely going to have it fixed on the main big patch that comes out on I believe it was like the 18th or whatever. And like I have the patch notes open. They even went as far as to like there's fixes for each system, had their own specific bugs: PC, Stadia, Xbox, and PlayStation. They also gave a list of workarounds for bugs they haven't been able to fix yet.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool of them.
Yeah, so, like, for instance, well, it says known issues and workarounds. So, like, they let you know, like, look, we know that this is an issue. We're working on it. We'll keep you updated. But I think they might have, like, workarounds on, like, here's how you get around this if you're seeing this issue. So, like, mission chains not completing, workaround, try advancing any other mission chain by a single step. This will trigger an autocomplete of the incomplete mission chains, and rewards will be issued. So, like, they let you know, like, look, we're working on this. Here's how you go around about it first, but we know that there's these problems. So, like, they're staying very active in the community, which, like, gives everyone hope that, like, they're going to continue to keep pushing good stuff through this game, because they're like, we know there's bugs. It's the first game of this type we've made. We're working on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you still? I know you said you've been playing a lot of Mario. Have you still been playing a lot of the Avengers?
The last time I played it was probably Friday or Saturday night. At the moment, because I played so much of it and it was all single player, I'm kind of really only interested in playing with, like, friends and other people, because now I'm at the grind of having to level up all my characters so I can finish up final mission, and completing the final quest chain gets me the Darkhold, the book from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it gets me that as, like, an epic item. So, like, I do, like, plan to play more of it, but I'm not, like, as strict about it right now, because I'm more interested in playing Sunshine, or just, in general, other things, but, like, that's on the back burner of, like, alright, I'll play it for a couple of hours today, and probably, like, once or twice a week. They are planning on releasing a raid soon, so I'll probably get more into it when the raid comes out, so you won't hear too much about the game until then. Or at least until Spider-Man and Hawkeye are released.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched actually a really long like play of it. Where, like, they were doing a bunch of different stuff. Like, they were doing some single player, some multiplayer, like, missions and stuff like that. And I'm actually probably going to hold off on this game longer than I intended.
Yeah.
Like, I might, like, honestly, if Xbox somehow ends up putting it on, like, Game Pass, I'd probably subscribe to Game Pass and give it a shot. But I might just wait until, like, it's one of those, like, crazy PSN sales, like the, like, $10 under sales. Because, like, a lot of what I was saying, I'm just like, yeah, this, as much as I'm interested in the story, the rest of the game just doesn't look like it's for me.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Because it was one of those games where it's like, I would like to play this, and, like, you know, $30 was kind of like that price point where I'm like, yeah, I could get into this for $30. But I don't know that that's the case.
I mean, like I said this already before, so I'm not gonna, like, push it too much more, but I played the entire game solo, and I have, like, a good team set up to where, like, with every character being a higher, decent enough level to where I rarely die when I'm playing solo by myself because of the abilities that I have unlocked and how I have my characters spec'd.
Yeah, like I said, this had nothing to do with multiplayer. Like, this stream, they were doing all sorts of stuff. There was some single player, some multiplayer. Like, they were kind of all over the place, giving like a pretty good, like, sense of the game. And, like, the gameplay is what I was just kind of like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Well, it's the end game gameplay loop of go in, do this mission, get done, go in, do this mission. I know that's not your type of game, which is why I'm like, all right,
yeah.
Like, everything else, like I said, I feel like if you gave it, like, the college try, you'd probably enjoy it, but I'm not going to push it anymore, because I know the endgame stuff isn't your cup of tea, and that's what they're going to be promoting more from here on out.
Yeah, and I mean, this was, like, they were actually even doing some of, like, I saw a couple of the story missions, and, like, even those, it's like, yeah, it's like, it's still just, I don't know, something about it just, it doesn't click for me. Like, there's just something about it that is like, yeah, I want to know what the story is, but I don't want to actually play the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those, it's like, I would probably read the Wikipedia on it in a month when, like, the story is filled out on there and just kind of see what it's about.
I'm sure there's a full, like, Let's Play watch right now.
Yeah, no, because, I mean, that's the problem. Like, the game, like, nothing about it was, like, interesting me. Like, I don't want to actually watch it. Like, I just want to read, like, what the story is.
Somebody probably put a cut of just all the cutscenes.
That's true.
And I was actually kind of surprised to hear that people were, like, really enjoying the story in that game.
That seems to be what's putting a lot of people through. Like, a lot of people are just, like, meh at most on, like, the gameplay. But they're like, the story's really good, and I want to see what happens.
Yeah. The story is really good.
And people are super happy with Kamala.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like she is getting the most praise out of like any part of that game.
Yeah, Kamala's freaking awesome.
Anyway, a little bit more Microsoft fucking Marvel stuff. Insomniac revealed that the PS5 Spider-Man remaster that's coming, only digital. There's not going to be any physical release of it, and there's not going to be any save transfers. So if you already have Spider-Man and you wanted that version of it, like because it's going to like look nicer, potentially play better, you're not going to be able to do like New Game Plus or anything. You're just going to have to play the whole game over again, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that is weird.
Especially because a version of this comes with the more expensive Miles game.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you buy that version, hoping to like, maybe like do New Game Plus or something like that of the base game, just to like, you know, have all your shit unlocked, have the suits, have the upgrades, and just see how the game performs on the more powerful hardware. Like, you can't. Like, you just have to, like, the game's good, so I mean, like, playing it through again's not a bad thing, but that's your only option. You have to.
But I mean, like, was there save transfers for, like, Last of Us and Last of Us Remastered? Like,
no, but those came out like a year apart. Last of Us Remastered didn't launch on the PS4.
Spider-Man came out, like, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Spider-Man didn't come out, like, within the past year. It's been out for a while. Like, this is why I don't blame them for not having save transfers. Like, the game's been out for a long, like...
Well, like, we're not blaming them, it's just, it's a bummer. Like, it would be a nice thing for them to have. But I'm not talking, like, it doesn't matter how long ago Spider-Man came out. I'm saying, like, this game is launching with the PS5. It would be cool if the saves could transfer up, because they're selling a version of this game that is digital only and everything. Like,
it just, with the way the Sony especially has been talking about the PS5, and with the kind of stuff going on with, especially early in this generation, with like cross-generation games, it just surprises that your save doesn't pull over.
I mean, sure. Like, to me, it would surprise me if it did crossover. Like, the game, how long it's been, this game is not a cross-generational game, which is why, like, I'm not, like...
But it is.
The original Spider-Man that came out on PS4 came out, like I said, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they're releasing it on PS5, which means it is cross-gen. It is on 2 different generations of hardware. It's like how Resident Evil 4 is... I don't know the number for that. All gen? Infinite? Resident Evil 4 is infinite gen.
Yeah, but like right now when I hear cross-gen, I hear like Avengers or Madden or the games where if you buy them now, you still get to play them on your next system.
So I mean, that's true for all the PS4 games though. Like, your PS4 games are backwards compatible. So, like, is there a version, and I honestly don't know this is a real question. Is there a PS5 version of Avengers coming? Or is it just backwards compatible?
No, I'm pretty sure there's a PS5.
There's a PS5 version, but if you own the PS4 version, you can play it, like, it transfers up or whatever. Like, everything, like, your save and everything moves from PS4 to PS5.
So you're thinking of cross-gen as
it's being released within the cross-generational time frame of a few months. Like, this game came out 2 months, 3 months before the new system came out, so they're making it so that it can be played on both systems.
That's not what cross-gen means, though. There's another term for that. Cross-gen is any game that's literally released in 2 different generations. It goes across multiple generations.
Then Skyrim is cross-gen.
It is. Like, you're right.
And your Skyrim saves never transferred over.
Sure, but the generational split between the PS3, 360, and PS4, Xbox One are different. And actually, I kind of want to say your 360 saves can transfer over.
They can.
To playing it on the Xbox One.
You know what, I don't want to say I'm positive, I'm pretty sure they can. Microsoft has historically been much better with that stuff. Because even with backwards compatibility, you could import your saves over without anything extra. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but because they got rid of memory cards, you actually had to buy a $20 adapter if you wanted to bring your saves from PS2 to PS3 when the PS3 played PS2 games.
Yeah. Eric has one of those.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
I remember I bought one actually, no, you know what? I worked at GameStop at the time, so I didn't even buy it. We got a used one in. So I took it home for the night, did the thing, and then brought it back the next day.
Eric got it because Papa was working at GameStop and they pennied it out, so he gave it to him.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Or he borrowed it and just never brought it back or something. I don't know.
I mean, Papa was fucking over that place in Westmont very quick, so
yeah,
either one of those is possible. But I didn't get a PS3 until I was working at GameStop, so I know I picked that thing up while I was working there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's not like this ruined Spider-Man. It's just a bummer that they're trying to make they're trying to sort of blur the lines between PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One and Xbox Series X also. Like, they're trying to make it this sort of weird, seamless transition. So it's just a bummer that, like, a major first-party studio just doesn't have an option for it more than anything. It's not like I said, I'm not mad at Insomniac. I'm not going to boycott Spider-Man because of it. It's a bummer, and people are bummed about it.
Yeah, I mean, me and you have different mindsets. I wouldn't pay $20 on a game that I already own and don't have to play. So, like, if I paid $20 to get the HD version, I don't want to be playing off of my original save that I already beat the game. I'd rather just, like, play the game again.
Yeah, but, so it's New Game Plus is more what people are bummed about. Like, they can't go into New Game Plus and... Because I think hard mode only unlocks with New Game Plus, doesn't it?
I don't remember. I played through it once, and I kind of played through it, like, binge played through it because it was so good.
It was very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, honestly, like, if I was going to play that on PS5, like, I'd want to just start with New Game Plus and kind of just have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I just simply wouldn't buy it again because it's playable on that console already.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, I don't mind purchasing a game multiple times if it's like the Mario games or whatever. Like, I've bought them way too many times. There's a few Final Fantasy games that I've bought multiple times because they're not easily playable otherwise.
Yeah.
But, like, I own Spider-Man digitally. Like, I should be able to just download it to a PS5 and play it, like, natively.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to have all the puddles. Like, I'm sure the remaster is going to have all the fucking puddles. But
you need all the puddles. We got to keep an eye on the puddles in Miles.
Yeah, the puddles, and people really like Miles' hairline.
Sure.
It's a very specific thing to be oddly enjoying.
So, so I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the close-up, but, like, in the one scene in the beginning of the trailer where, like, he's not in costume, people have, like, zoomed in on, like, his head. Like, his hair looks really fucking good. Like, I mean, I honestly don't know a nicer way to, like, I don't know if there's a more political correct way to say this. Like, he has black hair. Like, it looks like that, whereas, like, normally in games, like, any hair looks bad in most games, let alone, like, black hair.
Yeah.
And, like, his looks really good, and, like, I know there's, like, a term for it, but, like, the way that it's cut, like, also looks very authentic. Like, he has a very good hairline, and people are both excited and jealous on the internet. But, Drew, I know you didn't see it, but Rich, did you watch the WandaVision trailer?
No, I didn't realize that it was out. Like, what I saw was, like I had seen somebody share it or something, and I was like, oh, that's just the Disney Plus trailer, so I didn't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, so I only watched it without sound, so, but, the big thing coming out of this, there's a very deliberate shot of a bottle of wine. It's a French bottle. And the label, however you pronounce these words in French, means house of. Mm-hmm. And the I don't know whether it's the brand or what, but the, like, big word on the label starts with the letter M. So it basically says House of M.
Okay.
Which is 100% not a coincidence. Like, there's no way they would deliberately show this bottle that translates to that by accident.
Yeah.
It could just be like a neat little Easter egg, but considering what the show looks like, and what happened with, like, the Fox merger, this could be, like, the MCU's way of doing a House of M styled storyline. So just quickly, because I'm sure you guys don't know, House of M, Scarlet Witch lost her fucking mind prior to that.
Yeah.
Like, her children died, or she found out that her children never existed. I forget exactly how that happened. But, like, it broke her. Between people treating her like shit and that, and Vision dying and all this stuff, like, she fucking lost it. And she eventually created, like, an alternate universe that flipped the roles. Mutants were basically the ones in charge, while humans were treated like garbage.
Yeah.
and there was only a handful of non-mutants that weren't treated like garbage, but they were like, it was like Carol Danvers and Spider-Man, like people that have historically had like relationships with mutants.
Yeah.
And it ends with Wanda basically like losing it even more, Scarlet Witch, and that's where the infamous "No More Mutants" comes from, where she instantaneously depowers like 99% of the mutants on Earth.
Okay.
Like, they go from having... there are millions of mutants on Earth down to a couple hundred after she says that. That could be a way to actually bring the mutants into the MCU, though.
Yeah, it would be... it would be cool, but at the same time, like, using her to just power all the mutants or whatever, making her technically the first mutant, you lose the storylines of, like, Apocalypse, where he was the first mutant and shit like that. Which, granted, they're probably not going to go with Apocalypse for quite a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't go well last time.
Yeah.
But, so two things here. This would not make her a mutant at all.
No.
It doesn't have to. She's not a mutant in the comic books anymore. They retconned that.
Yeah.
Her and Quicksilver are not Magneto's children, and they're not mutants. So, but, so, the MCU has never really dug into what her powers really are.
True.
But if they're even remotely like what she can do in the comics, they're reality warping.
Well, yeah.
So, in the MCU, like, she's super powerful. They've shown that. She, like, frankly, like, if Thanos didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet when she went up against him, she would have lost. Or he would have lost.
Absolutely.
The only thing that saved him was literally having a weapon of unlimited power.
Yeah, because that was when he grabbed the Power Stone off the gauntlet and just punched her or something like that.
No, that was Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Captain Marvel also could potentially beat Thanos without the gauntlet. Because she was close to it. Had he not grabbed the Power Stone and punched her, like, she was winning. But depending on, like, who knows what they're going to do when the show finally comes out, but they could use that as, like, her powers warp reality, and alter the course of human history to basically plant the mutant seed. Cause, like, when she reverts everything to the regular world, there are things that change. Like, Hawkeye is dead prior to House of M.
Yeah.
Actually, if I remember correctly, Scarlet Witch is responsible for Hawkeye dying. I think she mind-controlled somebody that then killed him. But when she undoes it, Hawkeye is no longer dead.
Yeah.
That's the whole storyline where Hawkeye became Ronin for a while, and nobody knew Hawkeye was Ronin. So, like, her powers could technically change reality and make it, like you said, like, plant this seed where, like, maybe mutants just aren't discovered until modern day, but you have creatures like Apocalypse dating back to, like, you know, ancient Egypt that had these powers that people just thought were part of their, you know, part of the mystique around that culture, like, kind of like, 300 with, the Persian dude whose name I can't, Xerxes?
Yeah.
Where, like, people thought he was a god, but really that was just a facade he put on, and as soon as he got cut, everyone was like, oh, this guy is just fucking human.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it could just be like a neat little nod to the comics, but this could also be the way that they start expanding the MCU with the Fox properties.
Yeah, that'll be pretty sweet. We'll have to wait and see. I'm assuming that's coming out soon, because
I think so. I know the other stuff's not coming till next year, but they didn't have a date for it. It just said coming soon.
Yeah.
Speaking of things getting pushed, Black Widow and a bunch of other stuff has been delayed again.
I'm not surprised.
I don't have the article open yet because I'm a fucking idiot. Black Widow has been pushed to 2021. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Black Widow had set to hit the big screen on November 6th. It will now open May 7th.
Okay.
With Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings being pushed to, from May 7th. Oh, so, I'm sorry, Shang-Chi hasn't even gotten a new date yet. It's just been pushed. Because May 7th was its date. And also, Marvel's Eternals will get a new date.
Yeah.
West Side Story also got delayed. And, the Pixar movie that was supposed to come out this year, apparently, is still going to come out this year. Same thing with Death on the Nile, which is the follow-up to Murder on the Orient Express.
Mm-hmm.
That is also still going to come out this year.
Interesting.
Yeah, so movies are going to be weird.
They definitely will be. I am not surprised that Black Widow was pushed back. I know they don't want to just put it out on like pay-per-view because of a lot of the backlash they got from Mulan.
I mean, Mulan was an issue because they put it on a service. So they did fix that by not requiring you to have a Disney Plus subscription, but they put it on a subscription service for an extra price. And it was also more expensive than all of those rentals have been.
Yes, but you also, as long as you have your Disney Plus subscription, you have access to that movie it's not just like a 1 or 2 day rental, it was a rental through and through. Like, you always had access to that as long as you had your Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, no, I know that, but
at some point it was going to just be on Disney Plus anyway.
Yeah.
Because they announced it was going to be released just digitally for, like, rental for, like, the regular, like, $20 in December.
Well, it's going to be free on Disney Plus in December.
Okay, maybe it's going to be $5 elsewhere then.
But, like, they got a lot of backlash from that, so I'm sure, like, they're like, alright, not going to do Black Widow on that way. Plus, Black Widow is a higher budget film than Mulan.
Yeah, apparently Mulan was awful, too.
It's not a musical. There's no Mushu. They completely bypassed the part where she cuts off her hair, which is kind of an important part, I think.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. This is things that I've read. And the actress absolutely fucking sucks. So, and she doesn't suck as an actress. She might, I don't know. She sucks as a human being.
Yeah, no, I've seen that stuff too. But yeah, like, apparently, like, beyond, like, them taking all, like, the iconic stuff out, it's apparently just a bad movie.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people the week that it released going like, hey, don't spend $30 on this. It's very bad.
Yeah.
People are just like, I have never actually regretted purchasing a movie before.
Yeah.
I regret this.
Like, I thought about it, but then when I heard it's getting bad press or bad reviews, and that the actress sucks, I'm like, I don't want any of my money to go to her, so I'll just wait until December, January to watch it.
Yeah. Also, I just realized we are running very long.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run through these last few news stories real quick. Supergirl is going to end next season with season 6.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but it's going to be a longer season.
No, it's only 20 episodes.
They said it. They called it a longer season. So like I'd read online that like it's going to be a longer season, but I also read it's only going to be 20 episodes. So I don't know why they said that.
Yeah, it's usually 22 episodes. So that's wherever you read that is not correct. But it's going to air in March-ish, if I remember correctly. So I know it's not launching with everything else. It's launching like mid-season.
It is. It's launching before everything else because it is already filming, and I think might be close to finished. Or
no, they said they're going to start filming soon.
Yeah, they're the first. They're going to be the first of the hero shows to start filming. So like they're going to be airing sooner, and it's probably going to end sooner.
I know. I mean, it looks like it is just going to air in January.
Yeah,
I think they're all airing in January now. But if you remember last year, the end of last season stuff, they said that Supergirl was going to debut a little bit later. Like it was supposed to debut in like March instead of January.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they changed that because they decided that it was going to be the last season. Do you think this is a bad look for them now that they have a Superman series to be canceling Supergirl?
No.
I've seen a few people throw that out on Twitter at people.
I don't think so. Supergirl's ratings have been dropping, and like
it never had great ratings either.
Yeah, and the last season, the season that happened during the pandemic, it was good, but I could tell that it was kind of falling apart. That like I'm not surprised that they were canceling or that they're ending it sooner. Luckily, they're actually getting a final season and not just being canceled.
Yeah, that is true. Because I know that was like one of those shows that people weren't sure would be coming back.
Yeah. And like also. It's a CW. She'll be in other episodes and shows and things like that, unless they
kill her like they did Arrow.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Also, I mean, at least for the rest of that season, the only person from Arrow we saw was John on that one episode of The Flash.
Yeah.
So who knows? But But yeah, so that's happening. DC Universe is done as of January. It is being rebranded as DC Universe Infinite. It's strictly going to be a comic book platform.
Yeah.
Kind of like Marvel Unlimited. All of their original content, so Titans, Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol, Young Justice, they're all going to HBO Max. Harley Quinn and Doom Patrol are both already renewed for new seasons. I'm not sure about Titans and Young Justice, but I believe they are. Or at least they already have seasons, like, in the works that haven't aired yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not surprising at all, but at least we now have confirmation that these shows should all be on HBO by January.
Which is nice. Like, I'm surprised it took them this long to just finally cancel it and rebrand it.
They let people purchase year subscriptions.
Yeah. So
they kind of have to, they have to work with that a little bit. They can't just end it and then refund people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys will care about this at all. There's a Batman tabletop RPG coming out called Gotham City Chronicles.
I mean, it depends, but not super particularly interested.
So it's being published by Monolith, which is a French company. It's their first foray, which I spelled that word totally wrong. I wrote rotary, into tabletop RPGs. And so they've done other board games, though. I think they actually did a board game version of Gotham City Chronicles. I think that Batman board game that like I've seen at like PAX Unplugged is theirs. And they're kind of like using that template to make a tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
The little blurb from CBR about this was, Gotham City Chronicles is its first foray into boardless gaming. According to the product announcement on Facebook, plans include 5 books, a core system rulebook called Gotham's Heroes, the Gotham City Guide, a mighty reference tome, to detail the world of the Bat, a book of scenarios called Gotham's Chronicles, and 2 campaign setting books that aren't named yet. Mm-hmm. And I guess all of these will be available through a Kickstarter campaign that they're going to be launching soon.
Yeah, it's neat. I'm wondering if they're going with a D20 system or a different dice system. They are. I
was about to say that because I forgot to put it in here. The articles that they're using D20. I don't know what that means. I assume it just means that they're using like a 20-sided die as part of their rules.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different die systems. Like D&D uses D20s. What is? There was an RPG show I was watching that's like based on zombies. I can't remember the game that they were using on that, but that uses a D6 system, which is kind of a pain in the ass and kind of weird. So it's like, yeah, there's different kinds of die systems.
Yeah, I'd say the other like kind of, I don't know what it's called, but the other kind of big main system that's out there right now is like you use 2 D6s and you'll have a stat like modifier that'll like +1 or a -1. And depending on what your roll on the 2 D6s is, like if it's between 1 and 5, you get a bad result. If it's between 6 and 9, you get an average result. If you get between 10 and 12, you get a great result.
Yeah, and sometimes they have like exploding die where like if you roll a 6, you roll that D6 again and you add that to it.
Yeah.
It's just, and then there's even systems where, and I thought this is kind of cool. It's an evolving die where like you start based on whatever your character stat is. Say it's at the lowest, you use a D4. If you roll a 4, then you get to use a D6. If you roll a 6, then you get to go to an 8, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. But also in the, like, I want to say it's called the Fates system with the 2d6s. Like, even if you roll a 2, you might still complete the thing you wanted to do, but it then also has a negative side effect beyond completing the task you were trying to.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a straight, oh no, you fucked up and everything went bad.
Yeah. Those systems are, like, super narrative based, where like the DM determines what happens based on your dice roll and not determines what happens based on a difficulty check and your dice roll.
So like that's the system they used on all those Giant Bomb holiday podcasts on the Beastcast.
Oh, okay.
Austin uses them a lot on Friends at the Table. his actual play podcast.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well.
So yeah, it could be something like that, which for a Batman game might actually be more interesting. Because,
Yeah. So
like the thing with Batman, like the heroes in Batman, is they don't really have powers. So
I believe what I read about this elsewhere. Like you're not going to play as Batman, obviously. I guess that there is a scenario where you can play as villains, or a scenario where you can play as other vigilantes. So there's potential for powers, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys would understand that stuff way better than I would. I just thought it was kind of interesting that this is apparently the first like official Batman tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are like homebrew, like non-official ones all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last thing on here, because I see Richie crossed out Supernatural. I watched the sequel to The Babysitter, which is called The Babysitter Killer Queen. So last week I talked about the first one. This week I watched the second one. It just came out earlier this month.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It was actually that they did a good job making a sequel to a movie that like didn't really need a sequel. Like it ended fine. Like it could have ended there and been cool. I didn't expect a lot of it to go the way it went. I didn't expect the villains that were the villains or any of that stuff. And it kept up that same sort of over the top sort of comedy ridiculousness that it had in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
With also like, you know, it's super gory and bloody, like the Evil Dead stuff, or like, especially like Ash vs. the Evil Dead. If you guys saw any of that, where like somebody gets like an arm cut off and it's just fucking sprays blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And it kind of went a little more like supernatural in this one than it did in the first one, which was neat. Like it pulled in some different genres for it. And like the cast is just super funny. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything because it is a brand new, well, not a brand new movie, but it's only a couple of weeks old.
Yeah.
That's fine. We've also gone for 3 hours. You don't need to talk too much about it.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to sort of wrap up quickly too. So yeah, if you guys have like time and you want to watch movies, like check these out. Like there's nothing serious about them, so you can kind of like, you know, fade in and out of them and still get what's going on. And they're super entertaining.
Yeah. Nice.
And like they know what they are. They're not trying to be anything special, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And it definitely ends in such a way where there could be more. Like there's no reason they couldn't make another sequel and still have it be good. But if they don't make another one, that's fine. Like it wasn't left on like a weird cliffhanger or anything.
Nice.
Cool.
But yeah, so I guess that is probably going to do it.
That better do it.
No, that does it. Even if I had something to talk about, I'm not fucking about it.
Man, don't just fuck you. Rex, you have anything else you want to talk about real quick?
No, I gotta.
You sure? Man, I told you to do that before we recorded.
Let's end this.
No, I'm going to keep going now. Fuck you guys.
I mean, you can keep talking all you want.
Sorry, I lost track of thought. I was actually getting ready to start the whole outro bit. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also support us by going to patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your money, though, you can support us by going to your favorite podcast platform, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We're now on Amazon Music. I got an email for, so you can find us there. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us, all that fun stuff. It helps. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. And yeah, that'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week with some more to talk about. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.